The temperatures are in the high 30s. The winds are gusting to 28 miles an hour out of the northwest. It's a kind of a day that would force a hearty turkey indoors. And it's just about that time of year. We're at Sullivan Stadium in Foxborough. But I guarantee you one thing, there'll be over 60,000 standing room only fans here today, and they're outside to enjoy a good one. Hello everyone, Eddie Doucette, Kyle Rote Jr. Kyle, a little nippy, but I expect that it's going to warm up in a hurry.
Now, anytime these two teams play, it is a battle royal. And when you look at Doug Flutie's tremendous career, the all-time total offense leader, the all-time passing leader, the one team that he's never really been able to do it against has been the Syracuse ball club. And as we saw here on USA earlier this year, Syracuse can do a job. They did one against Nebraska, then the #1 team.
Syracuse has one of the best pass defenses in America. They've not allowed a touchdown pass in the last 4 games and very few all season long. But they're going against the #2 passing offense in America, so it should be a dandy.
Yeah, I think really the game perhaps is going to be done on the other side of the field because you got a great defense in Syracuse, obviously a tremendous offense with Boston College. But the real issue is, can Boston College defense hold out Syracuse?
Syracuse started on a high note. They beat Maryland, and they kind of skidded a bit, and then they ran into Nebraska. And we had that game on USA Sports. It was a thrilling win for them, certainly the high point of the season to now. But they feel as if they can be the spoiler. They can knock BC out of what many people consider to be a top-rated bowl bid.
Yeah, and you're going to see a situation, I think, if Syracuse can win the game, they may even get a bowl bid. First time in a long time, particularly for Coach McPherson, who comes off a record 2 years ago that was not even a 500 record.
It's a 500 season for sure for Dick McPherson. He's had some great moments this year. As we told you, we've seen at least one of those on USA Sports. Let's go back and synopsize what it's been for Syracuse in 1984. Good season so far. Syracuse coach Dick McPherson has had a lot to be optimistic about in the last 3 weeks. In that time, the Orange Men have gone 3-0, and their success can be attributed to sophomore quarterback Mike Kometz. Since he came on in the second half 3 weeks ago against Army, he's thrown for 179 yards, including this TD strike to Mike Ciano against Navy last week. Spearheading Syracuse's running attack is junior running back Harold Gaydon. He has the quick feet and that slashing style of running, and it's helped him amass 438 yards and 3 TDs this year. And complementing him in the backfield is senior running back Jamie Covington, who has gained 2,151 career yards. Syracuse has a big active flanker in Mike Ciano. He's 6'4", 220 pounds with good hands, and he has 23 catches, over 325 yards this season. Still another offensive threat for the Orangemen is sophomore wide receiver Scott Schwades, who last year led the team in receptions and is repeating again this year with 35 for 421 yards. He has excellent moves in traffic. Tim Green has inspired an Orange defense that has allowed only 3 touchdowns in the second half this year. They're also ranked 3rd nationally against the pass. Green is a strong Lombardi Trophy candidate. He and linebacker teammate Jamie Kimmel have led the fired-up Orange defense that gives up less than 13 points a game. Syracuse coach Dick McPherson had some 84 reflections.
It's a terrific rivalry. You can see the crowd that's here. Could you ever imagine the BC-Syracuse game outdrawing the Patriots? And that's where we are in college football today. We're thrilled about it. Now I think it's going to be a great game, and we got to go get Flutie, and I know he's ready for us.
Tell us a little bit about your quarterback situation.
Well, we've started our 3rd string quarterback, Mike Kometz, and since he's been in there, we're 3-0. We've beaten Army, Pittsburgh, and Navy. So and all we need now is the Air Force, and we'd be the Commander-in-Chiefs. So I think that Mike Kometz has been able to give us an outside dimension with the option series. He got better every game in throwing the football. He can throw it. He's just not sure where to throw it right yet. But he's reckless, and so we're going after people, play hard defense. Now, I think the key to the game is whether our offense can move the ball against that defense, because the other struggle is going to go on all day long.
I like that man. He is positive, but he's tough. He doesn't score many points offensively. He doesn't give up many defensively, but they don't make many turnovers.
No, and he said a lot of things. One being that football is not everything in life. He said something else, too, and he says that is that offense is what sells tickets. That's obvious, what we see here today. He says, though, that defense wins games, and we'll find out.
And we are going to find out. And we're also going to find out about Boston College. We'll do that when we return. We're at Sullivan Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. It's a little chilly, but I think we're going to have fun today.
Can you believe it? JT with an 8.
It looks like rain. It feels like snow, but it might be a combination. It may be hailing footballs here at Foxborough Stadium. That's right, we're at Foxborough, Massachusetts. Foxborough Stadium, Sullivan Stadium, whichever way you want to call it. It's been good for BC. They've always enjoyed playing here. Last year they were 3-0. This year they have a win and no defeats. And Doug Flutie particularly feels comfortable, despite the fact that he's going against a Syracuse team that has not treated him all that well the last 3 years.
No, and I think, Eddie, as we looked at this team, Doug Flutie, the best thing that he's had to beat all year has been his own defense, because his defense has given up an awful lot of points. The BC offense with about 36 points, the BC defense giving up 24. It's always a scoring derby. It's kind of like that old story of two buddies that go out hunting for the grizzly bear. They get within about 100 yards of that bear, and the bear sees them, starts chasing them. One guy stops to put on track shoes, and his friend says, hey, that's not going to stop the bear from catching you. And he says, I don't worry about the bear catching me. I just got to outrun you. And that's the problem for Doug Flutie, is he's got to score more points than his defense is going to give up. And all season long, anytime that Doug Flutie has not been able to do that, of course, this team has lost. And I think the real key thus is going to be how the BC defense does against Syracuse.
Against the league, he passes 60%. And against Syracuse, he's only good for 37% career. That'll give you an idea about how tough they've been on him. Syracuse, as we mentioned earlier, the #3 passing defense in the nation. It won't be easy for Doug Flutie. The question is, can Boston College maybe establish the run today and get something going that way?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see Syracuse rush more than 4 people the whole day. That means they'll have 7 people back in the secondary. It means Flutie's going to have to use his backs out of the backfield. It means that his prime wide receivers are going to be double teamed most of the time. And it's going to be a mental challenge for Doug Flutie to see whether or not he'll try to force the ball into double coverage, whether he'll be content to use the run sometimes, which is a type of offense that he doesn't like to use at all.
His coach, Jack Bicknell, says Doug Flutie can do more things in a football field than any player he's ever seen. I agree. He's a sensational performer. BC's had a lot of success. What will happen after today? Bowl times. Let's take a look at this 84. For Boston College, the story is much more than the one that follows Heisman favorite Doug Flutie. The Eagles are in a position to go bowling again, and this time it just might be on January 1. BC is known for its passing, but they balance the attack with the cutback style running of tailback Troy Stradford. Is he fun to watch? And if Stratford's hamstring gets bothersome, they look for junior speedster number 24 Ken Bell to pitch in. And how about the receiving corps for the Flutie Air Force? It's formidable. You've got Gerard Phelan, Doug's favorite target. He's catching an average of 6 a game, which is #3 in the nation. Number 82, Kelvin Martin, is only a sophomore, but already he's a double threat. He's caught 8 touchdown flings from Flutie, and he even authored a 45-yard punt return against the Army. It was BC's first punt return for a touchdown in 12 years. Another #1 for Boston College is their free safety, Tony Thurman, who's #1 in the nation in interceptions with 9. And then the man in the middle of that Eagle defense is Herculean nose guard Mike Ruth. BC coach Bicknell also praised Syracuse's defense.
Syracuse is a great defensive team, a great football team. They beat Nebraska, who was #1 at the time and is #1 again. They have an excellent defense. They have a good scheme of defense. They put a lot of pressure on you with only 4 people, which is something that you'd like to be able to do, and then they disguise coverages with the rest of their people. So I'm very impressed with Syracuse. They've got outstanding personnel. Tim Green, legitimate All-American candidate. Jamie Kimmel, I think, is a fine player. So then they have others. Ron Hobby in the secondary. They have other fine players. So it's going to be a challenge for our kids.
It certainly is, and we'll have an opportunity to see what Syracuse is up against when we come back to Sullivan Stadium here in Foxborough, Massachusetts. We put together a little feature on Doug Flutie. I think you'll enjoy it. We'll have it for you when we come back. What? College Football 84 is brought to you by the Stroh Brewery Company, brewers of Stroh's, Old Milwaukee, and other fine beers. By Toyota's exciting cars and trucks for 1985. Toyota invites you to see them at your local dealer. By Mobil Super Unleaded Gasoline. Mobil Super Unleaded, it's really powerful. By Levi's Jeans, Cords, and Shirts for quality and style that you can count on. And by Zenith VHS Video Recorders, the Smart Decks, the video recorders that have everything. They're poised, they're ready to go here at Sullivan Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. BC and Syracuse, always a great battle. Doug Flutie has been amazing. Here's a fellow that has 21 touchdown passes this year. He's amassed over 9,000 passing yards, over 10,000 total yards, and on top of all that, he's a Rhodes Scholar candidate. I guess that's poetic justice.
Yeah, I think importantly, though, remember that the Heisman balloting is over. The Heisman selection hasn't been announced yet, but the pressure's off. He can't help himself or hurt himself, and the one last challenge that he has in his career is to do something good against Syracuse, which he's not done.
He's accomplished just about everything. We're going to take you back and show you a little bit about Doug Flutie and let you figure it out for yourself, because this young man is truly incredible. In 1983, Sports Illustrated had an idea that Doug Flutie would be the focal point of college football '84. The weight of being an SI cover boy has had no adverse effect on this young man's season. He's climbed the ladder and accomplished a couple of major milestones. Last week, he became the all-time passing yardage leader, vaulting some other former college notables. He's also gone to the top of the all-time total offense charts. It's been a memorable career. And who would have guessed that at this unlikely prep from Natick, Mass. would go on to secure the last scholarship at BC in '81. Start out as the #5 quarterback as a freshman, because of injuries become #1 that year, and now the kingpin in 1984.
Coming in as a freshman, I was 5th string, and I was struggling to just try to make the squad, so to speak. And I had a lot of obstacles, and the main one was to have the confidence in myself that I belonged here. And after I had the opportunity to play, and I started out playing, it took me a while, but I realized, hey, I had the ability and I have a chance of playing at Boston College in major college football. And it was an exciting time for me because I was becoming acquainted with major college football, and I realized I'm as good as anyone else and that I don't have to take a back seat to anyone. Playing in the Boston area has been a real special experience for me because I've had a lot of feedback from the fans in the area, and they appreciate my efforts out on the football field, you know, on and off the field. I've done some things, and I feel like it's home to me, playing in this area. And in fact, in the future, I'd love to be able to play in this area because I feel like I have a special rapport with the Boston community.
He does have a special rapport. These fans have poured in here. He's the darling of Boston. And today there are representatives from every major bowl in the country here to see Doug Flutie at Boston College. Kyle, where do you think it might be?
Well, I think because of their record, Eddie, they're going to have to win today's ball game to go to a January 1st bowl game. And you hate to throw dollars into college football, but in reality, it's $1.5 million difference. It's a $1.5 million difference between, say, the Citrus Bowl, which gives about $600,000, and say the Sugar Bowl, which gives 2.1, or the Cotton Bowl, which gives $2 million. So the athletic director here, the fans, this is a big day not just for beating Syracuse in the Orange, but it's a big day for the pocketbook of the Boston College program.
And so the Eagles will soar in the wings of the man with at least $1.5 million arm, Doug Flutie, because it's his job today to try and lead his club against one of the nastiest and toughest defenses in America. One team 6-4, the other 6-2. Let's get on and pick up some of the activities in the field with referee Tom Clemert.
Call it. You call the heads. It is a tail. You have won the toss. You want the ball. Which end do you want to defend? Just turn around and face the way you're going, gentlemen.
Well, Eddie, it looks as if Boston College winning the toss is going to take the ball, and that'll put it in the hands of the man they always want to see the ball with, quarterback Doug Flutie. Looks like they're going to gang war out in the middle of the field, but really just players from both teams out trying to come up for that last little bit of inspiration. Syracuse, a team that has played a great deal on emotion this year. We've seen them, as we told you here on USA, upset then the number one ranked team, Nebraska. But Syracuse Also has been shut out by Rutgers, shut out by Florida. Only had 3 points against Penn State, so they've had an up and down team.
Everybody is ready. And they have a sellout here today, although some of the fans are still a little bit slow moving to their seats. Weather conditions, well, that's as succinctly as we can put it. 37 degrees. Right now at 23, it'll gust to 28. Humidity 39%. Windy, chilly, and in some people's hearts, it could end up being very warm. We have a feeling that Doug Flutie is going to put on a show today. But Syracuse has other ideas in mind because they have been pointing to this one for a long time. Might tell you that in the 3 years that Flutie has played against Syracuse, his team has won 1, they have lost 2. And as we had indicated before, he's not had a great deal of success. Last year he was intercepted 4 times. BC was held to 114 yards passing. He had 1 touchdown, and he has been throughout his career not a great percentage passer against Syracuse, 37%. But against the rest of the country, oh my, has he done it all. This year, he has passed for over 2,570 yards, 21 touchdowns, and he's been incredible. And of course, the rest we've already talked about. Syracuse now, and back set to receive for Syracuse, or for Boston College, will be Steve Williams and Ken Bell. Bell is number 24 and Williams is number 30.
Ken Bell, Eddie, number 24, is number 7 in the nation. He's returned 1 for 92 yards. Didn't score on it, but very, very powerful and dangerous return man. Don McCauley now, who for Syracuse, in addition to handling the kickoffs, also handles their field goals. They have an unusual record, 122 consecutive point afters. That is about 13 short of the NCAA record by Oklahoma, 135. So in addition to being a man of distance, he's also a man who has pretty good accuracy too.
One thing that Syracuse must protect against, as you look at Gorzalski, who's the captain of their special teams and an outstanding tackler, you'll look for him in nickelback situations. Syracuse has had problems in the first quarter this year. They have been outscored 52-6 in first quarter play, so they've had to fight from behind all season long. McCauley will kick it off, and I can tell you this crowd is ready. We're underway at Sullivan Stadium in Foxborough. Bell. And to the 15-yard line. And it's Gorzalski who is right down there to bang him hard. He is the captain of the special teams that we mentioned. All right, offensively with Flutie, Stratford, Strachan, Calvin Martin, Phelan, and Casparriello. They will not start Gieselman, their regular tight end, who is hurt. Their offensive line of Regent, Bardwell, Bicknell, Trapillo, and McDonald. And those have been the starters all year long. Kelvin Martin is to the near side. They flip-flop the line. John Roos, the cornerback, on the far side, and Lee to the near side. First and 10. And right away, they go to the tight end, Casparriello. David Lee, the wide side corner, was there to bring him down. Casparriello was not had many opportunities this year. They've had him shuffling between fullback and tight end. Defensively, Knopf and the rest with Kimmel, Pigeon, Reed, and Allen, the linebackers in the 3-4 set. And the secondary of Lee, Roos, Ron Hobby, and Vic Bellamy. Hobby is an outstanding free safety. Dombrowski is in the ball game. Phelan has come out as a split receiver for Boston College. Twin receivers set to the far of the wide side of the field. Yeah, we've got a delay, I believe, already. Second down and 3 the call, and the officials working the game here have already made their first whistle of the day. The umpire, incidentally, the referee is Tom Thamert. The umpire in the game is James Riley. Don Gooman will be the head linesman. The line judge Anthony Manissi.
Dead ball, delay, offense, repeat second down.
So they didn't get it in playing time, Kyle, so they'll repeat now. On the second down, it'll be a second down and 8 yards to go. That's Flutie. 5'9", he's gonna run. And out to the 30-yard line. He needed 8.
He got it.
And Jerry Allen, one of the linebackers, brought him down. One fellow that we might concentrate on today, Kyle, is number 72, Tim Green, who has 14 sacks in '84. He had 14.5 last year.
Tim Green is being triple teamed at this point because, again, as we said, Flutie is only going to face 4 rushers most of the time by Syracuse, and they're going to try to double his receivers. That is going to put Flutie in that pass run situation where he is going to have to scramble a great deal.
1st and 10 on the 30-yard line. Darren Flutie has come in the ball game now. Kelvin Martin is the other wide out. At Stradford. And out of bounds at the 35-yard line. And he really took a lick. Ron Hobby, the free safety. Stratford playing with a bad hamstring. He's had that problem all year long. In fact, he pulled that in the game we did on USA against Rutgers. There's Stratford in his numbers, 4.4 yards per carry. Stratford. Doug Flutie, just about 60%, 2,570 yards, 8 interceptions. Roos defensively to the near side, Lee to the far side. Kelvin Martin is split to the near end. Casparriello at the 42, down at the 43. Vic Bellamy, the strong safety, who was also the nickelback on many situations, pulled him down. But there's big Peter Casparriello, 6'3", 221 pounds. Hasn't had that many receptions, but already today they've gone to him 2 times.
He's added about 67% to his number of receptions now with 5 on the season. But for someone missing someone like Gieselman is really tough. Gieselman all season long, their number 3 receiver.
Sean Dombrowski is flanked to the far side. Kelvin Martin to the near side. 1st and 10 on the 42. Boston College with a couple first down. The running game. And Rick Miller pulling down Stratford. Stratford, a junior, 5'8", 183 from Linden, New Jersey. Jack Bicknell, who has put this program in motion. He, like Dick McPherson of Syracuse, have come here and done wonderful jobs at each of their schools. 4th year as the head man at Boston College.
Started out that first season at 5-6 with a group of people that were called no names. They were the recruits that no one wanted. He's now got them in the top 20.
Casparriello in motion. Kelvin Martin near side, out of the eye. Strachan and Stratford. Stratford out of bounds. Jim Gorzalski. He bumped him out of bounds, and I'm going to tell you, this crowd is ready for this one. And they get themselves another first down.
Here's Flutie, who, because he had a bad left shoulder, they don't want to see him running too much. He doesn't need to. Really good seal block that time by Steve Strachan, number 33, to get Troy Stratford, number 23, on the outside. It's another first down. Boston College running 4 times, only passing twice.
Sean Dombrowski getting a lot of playing time so far at a split receiver. They have twin receivers to the near side now and out of the eye. Excellent second effort right there by Troy Stratford. Ron Hobby, the senior free safety, and Tim Green, the defensive end, made the tackle.
Take a look at the secondary coverage now for Syracuse, and we see how quickly the linebackers in the secondary react to this running play.
Boston
well, maybe
College.
We're not going to take a look at that. But anyway, Stratford picking his way through with good blocks by his down linemen, Trapillo and Bradwell.
Moving it on a 2nd down and 2. Ball is on the 39-yard line of Syracuse. Remember, this is a very, very stingy Syracuse defense. All their problems have been in the first quarter.
Boston College with a free one.
That's Casparriello inside the 10-yard line. But a flag was thrown on the play. Ron Hobby was the tackler, and it looks like it's going to be against Syracuse.
Offsides on the left side. Left end was offside there, and good quarterbacks know they've got a free one. And there's that free pass.
And Casparriello right now, 3 receptions for 46 yards. He's off to a good start. That equals his reception total for the year, and he's done it here in the first few minutes of the first quarter.
It's nice, though, Flutie has not hesitated, obviously, to go to him, and that helps a lot of confidence.
David Lee, the cornerback, to the near side. Roos goes to the far. Kelvin Martin is on the near side. And they try the middle. It's Strachan, the big fullback, 6'1", 216 pounds. Jamie Kimmel, the outside linebacker on the far side. Jerry Allen, another backer on the other side, came over to bring him down. But they're mixing in a few running plays here, which is not it's not unlike Boston College, but I think they're doing it a little bit more in proportion to the pass than they normally do.
Yeah, I think they've got to try to get those linebackers and secondary men coming up, because that's the only way they're going to open it up for their deeper receivers.
Phelan and Martin are stretched to the far side, 2nd down and 5. And Flutie will try and carry it himself down to the 2. Or was that Strachan? It was Strachan, or Stratford. We get it straightened out here. Stratford, the tailback in the eye. Kimmel, the tackler on the outside. Jamie Kimmel. Kimmel and Green have really been the stalwarts in that defensive front rush for the Syracuse Orangemen. They are really outstanding football talents.
Saw Boston College going to an uneven line last time. They had 2 tight ends on one side. They do it again. Now they've gone uneven line left, like the old single wing.
3rd and 1 from the 1. And it's going to be close. Did he get there?
Well, no hands up in the air, just inches away. Good second effort, though, by Stratford.
Some excellent popping going down there on the field.
Take a look at Tim Green's pursuit, number 72. Goes off one block, tries to use some speed, keeps going, and it's Green who gets to the outside. With the second effort, is able to keep Stratford from going into the end zone.
They're going with a full house backfield. Turner and Strachan, 2 jumbo running backs, and there they are. And it's a touchdown. Steve Strachan. He had a couple touchdowns against Army. He's had 6 for the year. Coming in, he's got number 7. Well, they went with the 2 jumbo backs. They normally run them in a full house backfield, but they get one here out of the eye.
Straight power football, and you see what Trapillo, number 65, gets stood up by the defense there. Good leap by Steve Strachan, and that's against a defense that at one time had a string of 15 consecutive games where they had given up no more than 1 touchdown a game. So Boston College, right off the bat, just over 5 minutes, put some points on the board.
Kevin Snow to kick. He's got it. In the early going here at Foxborough, Sullivan Stadium. Boston College wanting one has come up with a lead. The Eagles 7, Syracuse nothing. 1-0 Boston College over Syracuse. And we're at Sullivan Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. And the crowd level and noise level of several decibels higher than what we had anticipated. These folks are ready for this one, Kyle.
Well, they've seen Flutie and Boston College do so many things, but don't discount the fact there are a lot of folks here from Syracuse as well. Not that far, and Syracuse on the edge of perhaps going to a bowl. As we said, the Citrus representative is here. There's the scoring drive. A little over 5 minutes. Steve Strachan with the 1-yard run to punch it in. Boston College relying a great deal in those 12 plays on the running game. Only 3 passes in that series, 9 runs, and but they were all complete. So Flutie 3 for 3 at this point.
Boston College to kick it off now, and that is going to be the man that just added the extra point, Kevin Snow. So an extended drive right out of the chute by BC.
He should just dump the ball.
Gaden and Covington are back to receive, and that's Harold Gaden chasing it down, and they'll bring it back out to the 20-yard line. So with the wind behind, they didn't kick it over the end line, and at least Boston College has tried to figure out how they're going to control that kick so they don't lose an extra 10 yards.
Well, there was a penalty assessed on the extra point, so they had a 15-yard benefit there. So kicked off from the Syracuse 45-yard line.
Kometz, Covington, Gaden, Ciano, Schwades, and Tate. That's what they'll look at as far as the skill people. Brodsky, Stevens, Jack Simcoe, Valenti, and Doug Marone. Big offensive tackle, 282 pounds on the right side of the line. They run the split backs. That's Kometz. And that was Schwades. He may have looked like he was, he almost looked like he was lining up to throw a pass himself.
Well, it was a lateral. He could have done that had he caught the ball. the pass a little bit too high.
Nickerson, Harrington, Ruth, Bosa, and Gorecki. Watch number 68, Mike Ruth. Maybe the strongest man in college football. Bench press is 520 pounds. That's the defensive line. The linebackers, the freshmen, Romanowski and Peter Holy. They've had problems there. There's a lot of injured people there. Secondary, Russell, Eiton, Thurman, and Pereira. Second down, 10. Harold Gayden. They stuck him back pretty good. Romanowski was one of the hitters. Mike Ruth was also in there. Ruth with 5 sacks for the year. He'll be all over the field today. And there's Gayden. Gayden, 5'11", 201 from Tarrytown, New York. Let's go, David Thomas, who has been a very strong figure in Boston's defense the past 4 years, has been trying to play with a bad hamstring. He just came out. Rick Nickerson has come back in. They tried to go with Thomas. Third down conversions. You just saw the number. It's 3rd and 13. And Kometz finds Ciano.
It's not far enough, though, Eddie, so they're still going to come up with a 4th and 5, a punting situation.
So that means that Jim Fox will have to come in to punt. There's Ciano. He's got great numbers as far as size is concerned. 6'4", 220, and he's one of their leading receivers. Kelvin Martin will be standing back at the BC 35-yard line. And the kicker coming on right now. Fox averaging just about 42 yards a kick. Very, very good punter. And this one angled toward the sidelines and out of bounds at the 36, 37. They're going to spot it at the 39.5-yard line. So with the teams changing positions on the field, we'll tell you that it's Boston College 7, Syracuse nothing from Foxborough. It's 7-0 Boston College over Syracuse. I believe the wind had a little bit of an effect on Snow's last punt, 35 yards. 1st and 10, Flutie at the 39, out of the eye. And Troy Stratford, his tailback, runs right into the arms of Ted Gregory, the nose guard, 240-pounder, right in the middle of that Syracuse line. Stratford has run for over 420 yards this year, 429 coming in. And so far today with 29 yards, and he's carried it 7 times. And he was kind of questionable as to whether he would be able to play, but he wanted this one badly. 2nd down and 9. Kelvin Martin to the far side. Casparriello in the slot over there. Dombrowski to the near side. Receivers. That's Flutie. And that is Stratford, and he's hit shy of the 50-yard line. John Roos, the short side corner man, was right there, and Hobby was there with him. Number 10 is Ron Hobby, and number 40 is John Roos.
They talk about comedians being the improvisational specialist, but when you look at this Boston College team and what Doug Flutie does in the backfield, he improvises so well and has so much confidence that he turns trying to defense him into a very, not a comedian business, but a very serious business. Breaks out of the backfield, has 2 receivers open, decides which one to throw it to. Again, has not gone deep except once to Casparriello, and is using that controlled passing game to move down the field. Good field position for Boston College as they started on their 40.
Kyle, Boston College right now looking for their 5th first down of the game. Kelvin Martin has come out. Darren Flutie has come in. Dombrowski will now go to the far side. Phelan is back in. And on 3rd down conversion so far, BC is 0 for 1. There's the back of the man with the golden arm and the golden dome on his head. That helmet signifies a little bit more than just a helmet as far as BC fans are concerned. He could wear a halo, and I think in most eyes he does. 3rd down and 1. Kanoff, Gregory, and Tim Green defensively across the front line right in the middle of the action. Flutie on a roll.
But 2 people wide open again.
Casparriello on the 1st down, and the tight end with his 4th catch. And he is running some very interesting routes here today.
Well, we had 3 receivers out. We only had 2 people in the secondary. Let's look at the secondary. Linebackers coming up. You've got 3 receivers in the same zone. Look, 2 wide open for Flutie. He decides to hit Casparriello because Casparriello now has his 4th catch. He's 4 for 4 to him. and another first down.
Darren Flutie is in at a wide out to the near side. 1st and 10. And Stratford is dropped for a loss. Vic Bellamy comes pouring through there. Bellamy had quite a game against Navy, and he's been good most of the season for Syracuse from Philadelphia.
Bellamy's been a starter now a little over 2 years. Played some as a, actually no, he's a starter as a sophomore, also a starter last year as a junior. A lot of experience back there, and part of that great pass defense that Eddie told you about, number 3 in the nation.
Strachan is the lone running back. Phelan and Dombrowski to the near side. And Strachan finds the kind of running room that he wants and carries a few people with him. Jamie Kimmel, who is one of the good ones last week. He had 7 tackles and 3 sacks.
Earlier, Flutie keeps 2 tight ends in, does a bootleg, has 3 receivers open. This time sets 3 receivers very wide out on the field with only 1 man in the backfield. Looks like he's going to use him to block, gives him the ball instead. Very deceptive type of attack for Boston College.
Phelan, Dombrowski on the near side on the line, and on the far side they've got Kelvin Martin from the eye and the pitch back. Troy Stratford. Ron Hobby as the man that gets to him. But Stratford is doing some very nice running here early in this ball game, and Boston College again getting down close to 6-point territory. A 1st down and 10 on the 16-yard line. Tim Pigeon has come in along with Rudy Reed. The absence of Bernard King at one of the linebacker positions is not helping Syracuse today. Phelan and Darren Flutie are the wide receivers on the far side. And Stratford is held up right there at the line by Jamie Kimmel and Ted Gregory. So Kimmel and Gregory combined as McPherson on the far side, obviously concerned at the way BC is mixing their offense right now and making some big ground. Stratford in, Ken Bell comes out. Now Stratford goes out to the far side, and they've got Bell in. Casparriello switches to the right side of the line. Not there. Vic Bellamy defending on Kelvin Martin. Martin with over 580 yards so far this year. Averages 18.7 yards per catch, and a flag has been dropped.
Be holding, I'm sure, against Boston College. It's not really a good pass by Flutie. That's something that is very rare, almost as rare as the tickets that will no doubt be put in scrapbooks by the capacity crowd here today at Sullivan Stadium.
Holding, offense, repeat 2nd down.
So the referee, Tom Thamert, getting a little airtime. And you heard the call. Repeating on a 2nd down, 2nd and 19. Ball on the 24-yard line.
2nd and 19 at the 24-yard line.
Stratford has come in. Ken Bell has gone out so far. Flutie perfecto. Lee, Bellamy, Gorzelski, Hobby, and Roos. A nickelback situation for Syracuse. Is he cool? And out of bounds. Well, he picked up a few yards on it. John Roos ran him out over there, but Flutie is just so cool. He looks like he's been playing in the NFL for 5 or 6 years, doesn't he?
Yeah, they still flush him out of the pocket. Let's take a look at Tim Green, number 72, the right end, who is their real sack specialist. He's going against Sean Regent, number 54, at tackle, and Regent does a job on him. Even Freilich had a difficult time against Tim Green.
Boston College a little short at tight end with the injury to Gieselman, where they're having to go with some backup people. Flutie for the 19 on a 3rd and 15. Gets rid of it, intercepted and dropped. For a moment it looked like John Roos was there to intercept it. But a good call by Syracuse, and the nickel coverage worked.
Yeah, Sean Murphy did a great defensive job. Sean Murphy is the tight end for Flutie. And had Murphy not gone up and fought for that ball, Syracuse would have had the interception.
And he's one of the reserve tight ends we talked about, Kyle. He's not playing a lot this year. He's actually on the depth chart about their 4th tight end. Behind Gieselman, Casparriello, Brendan Murphy, and then comes Sean Murphy. And another hanky was dropped, and they're going to march it back to the 29-yard line. Let's find out what Tom Hamthamert has in mind.
Holding, offense, repeat 3rd down.
Same thing again. And anytime you've got a quarterback who's as versatile as Flutie is, you've got to be very careful.
29-yard line.
There's that career low, 114 yards. Flutie this year has not been held under 250 yards in any game he's played.
Bell is in the slot, stretched to the far side. Kelvin Martin beyond him. 3rd and 24 from the 29. Pressure. Strachan was the intended receiver. And good heat over there by the linebackers. Rudy Reed, Miller, and Tim Green was in on the rush. And number 93, Ted Gregory, walking back this way. Gregory acts as if it's a mid-September day there with the short sleeve jersey pulled up around the stomach. Cool weather didn't seem to bother him. So now you got a 4th and 24. And that very tough Syracuse defense we talked about has given them a lift as Kevin Snow will come in to line it up and attempt what could be a 46-yard field goal attempt. He'll be kicking into the wind. It's a little cross. He's not going to get there. Excellent pressure right there. Jerry Allen, number 90, with a good rush, and they come up dry. It's Boston College 7, Syracuse nothing. Commercial. In college also. They've had a lot of problems with their linebackers, Kyle. When you lose some of the people they've lost, Ed Van Nessen, one of them, and of course the injuries that they've had, it's created a lot of problems with Boston College defensively. There they are as you see them set up. 7-0. Scott Schwade's a split to the near side. That's Kometz. Almost outran his block that time before the freshman Romanowski, the linebacker, came over to pull him down. But he had Simcoe, his center, out in front, and he almost outran his block. There's the numbers on Kometz.
Well, one of the reasons could perhaps be the relative inexperience. Many times you get a player like Flutie back there, and Flutie has his signals that he gives to his linemen. He'll either shout something like go or now, and Kometz, so much experience at quarterback, may not know, they may not have the code words built up yet.
From the I formation, Gaten is the lead man in the I. That's Jamie Covington. And Bill Romanowski again. That's an interesting story, Romanowski, Kyle. The first time we saw Boston College, there was a chance he may be playing fullback because they had the injury to Brown. And then they decided at the last moment against Rutgers to move him back to the linebacker, and what a job he's done. Florida over Kentucky, 6-3 in the second. College football, let's hear this call.
Illegal use of the hands. Offense, refused. 2nd down.
2nd down and 10, ball on the 40-yard line. The sophomore quarterback with a good arm from Tamaqua, Pennsylvania. That's Mike Kometz. Marty Chalk has come in. And Jim Tate out at a tight end. Chalk is 85. That's Ciano in motion. And Harold Gaten from Philadelphia. On the carry, Peter Holy, one of the linebackers, again there to pull him away. There he is, number 36. And down on the bottom is Mike Ruth, the nose guard, number 68.
Look at Mike Ruth. He stands the center up, holds off, uses that tremendous upper body strength that Eddie told you about, over 500 yards in the bench press, and just throws his center off.
3rd down and 4. Gaden and Covington are the running backs out of the I. Ciano in motion. Covington. He's not going to get the first down on that carry. Foley and David Thomas. There he is, number 50, not expected to play. Had a severely damaged hamstring, but he wants to play in this one. He's a senior and a real good one from Capitol Heights, Maryland. So it'll bring on a 4th and 4. Boston College is held defensively, and if there is an area that might be suspect, it would be their defense. And now James Fox, or Jimmy Fox, comes in. For the year, his net, now with the wind curling a little bit behind him, he should get the benefit. Let's see what it does with it. Left-footed. To scramble to get it back is Kelvin Martin. Almost disastrous for Boston College.
Last week against Army, the same thing happened. Martin, as we told you in the opening, here's the call. But Martin last week dropped one punt. He did return one for a touchdown. That ball knuckling in this swirling air that Eddie told you about. And I'm really kind of surprised today that he tried to field it. Many times the punt returners, once they get inside the 10, the coaches tell them to let the ball hit. Hope it'll go in the end zone.
5-yard interference with the opportunity to catch a kick against the kickers. First down.
So the call by the referee. We have 1:10 to play here in the first quarter. 1 minute and 10 seconds, and Boston College is a long way from 6 more. It's Eagles 7, Syracuse nothing. Boston College 7, Syracuse nothing. We have 1:10 to play in the first quarter. BC with possession of the ball. It's on the 13-yard line. Phelan to the near side. And underthrowing the intended receiver that time. Ron Hobby was there to defend. Boston College having to go a little deeper yet. Their tight end roster, and they go this time intended to Kyle Hudgens. He wasn't even listed coming in, to give you an idea how deep they're going now. But they have obviously a bevy of them. Martin to the near side. Phelan and Dombrowski to the near side. Single running back. Strachan to block. Intended for Kelvin Martin, David Lee to defend. And again, Kyle, I think important to mention here that Syracuse has allowed only 4 touchdown passes all year and not one in the last 4 games. And I can see already that that pass defense is keyed on Doug Flutie today.
Particularly remember that, as you said at the start of the show, Syracuse has had a lot of problems in the first quarter. And as the game gets on, they get even stronger.
Kelvin Martin is stretched to the far side. Stradford is out there with him and now comes back in motion toward the line of scrimmage. Deep into the coverage and intercepted. Ron Hobby. Big interception. And again, not that much of a surprise, because in last year's game, they intercepted Flutie 4 times.
Well, here's where the frustration factor comes in. He's been able to hit his short receivers most of the day. He's getting pretty good protection. Ron Hobby, with his 6th interception of the year, obviously the team leader there, just playing center field, trying to read Flutie's moves, his eyes, his motion, and the pass, frankly, overthrown.
Kometz is the quarterback. Gaydon and Covington are the running blacks out of the split. That's Kometz. And runs right into Romanowski, the freshman linebacker. Ball started on the 39-yard line. He got a couple. There he is, Kometz. Quite a story here, averaging 5'1". He's a good runner. Most quarterbacks will lose yards on the ground. He is a strong runner. Has a touchdown as far as rushing is concerned. Chalk into the tight end. Tate comes out now for Syracuse. 20 seconds in the quarter remaining. And it's Gaydon on the give. Romanowski again. Boy, this freshman kid, Romanowski, with a lot of action already as we get very close to the end of the first quarter. I tell you that coming up at halftime, we have a feature on defense. We also have a Wall Street weekend memo. And we will have first half highlights, statistics, and more. Gaydon with some nice numbers there. 8 seconds to play in the first quarter. Boston College 7, Syracuse nothing. And a 4th down situation, maybe. They want to measure to see how much they have. Unofficially around 2 yards, but let's just check and see for ourselves. Not quite. It's less than that. I'd say about a foot.
There's a gain of about 2 yards in the play. Just of a first down at the 29-yard line.
Tom Perrell has come in on the defensive line, and Pereira, the free safeties, come out. They've got an extra big man up front. 4th and 1. And on the full house set, Kometz on the sneak. And a whistle on the play as we get a good look at the football inside. But they came in there with that full house look, Kyle. And then Kometz got a little crafty to try and sneak it through. That Gaydon, Covington, and Roland Grimes, a 235-pounder. That's the end of the first quarter here at Sullivan Stadium in Foxborough. It's Boston College 7. We've played a quarter in Foxborough. It's Boston College 7, Syracuse nothing. The quarter ended before they got that last playoff, so they'll have to do it again from the same spot. So it's less than a yard to go with Covington and Gaydon and Grimes, the full house backfield for Syracuse. They still need to go to get the first down. And Kometz sneaks and he gets it. So they get the first down they needed. They had to do it twice, and I guess in case anybody didn't think they did it the first time, they had to go back and show them again. But the youngster Kometz has done a nice job, even though he does not have what you might call the most dominating offense. That's been the history at Syracuse. They live on their defense, and that has been a pretty good catalyst for them this year.
It's only a little thing, but so far every time he's run, he's fallen forward when he's been tackled. And when you fall forward being 6'2", that picks up another yard or two.
Gaydon and Covington are the running backs. Schwades and Ciano the split receivers. And they'll lose a yard or two here. Ball starting on the 26-yard line.
Take a look now at Mike Kometz. He's going to be tripped really by his own man trying to come out of the backfield.
A loss of 4 on the play. In that first quarter, BC dominating on the ground and in the air. Total and in the score 7-0. Second down and 14. Kometz, and on the keeper, he lunges for a couple more.
Same situation we talked about a moment ago. He has not yet gone down, falling backwards, and this time extends his frame, takes the ball out in front of him with both hands to get up very, very close to that original line of scrimmage.
Dick McPherson, he's the head man, played his college ball at Springfield. First down, dominance by Boston College so far. 7-0 they lead. Schwades, far side. Covington, Gaydon, the running back. Ciano, near side. 3rd and 10. And flags. And oh my, they're starting to get to it down there, and they believe there might be a delay call here, as time had expired on the clock that they give you to initiate your offense. And let's see, get the official word from the referee.
There was no penalty.
No penalty. What was that all about, says Tim Green? I mean, he's just kind of like spectating right now.
Well, they do have 25 seconds to get the play off.
There's the man. He is a legit Lombardi Trophy candidate. What a career he's had. Schwades split far. Ciano near. Syracuse with the ball. 3rd and 10 at the 26-yard line. Big rush on Kometz. And no way he's going to come out of that one. Dave Thomas, the senior, 225-pounder, bounding about down there, was the man that got to him first. But you can go to any one of a number of people. And they've got some good ones. Johnny Bosa, he's in there, the Eagle defense. sacked the opposing quarterback several times, as you can see.
Everyone's waiting on the decision to see what McPherson is going to do here. Real good field position for Syracuse on this possession with the interception. Got the ball on the BC 39-yard line. Have not been able to move more than 10 yards, though.
Chuck Gorecki has come out of there now from Boston College. They've come to a nickel situation. And Kometz is going to come over here and take a timeout as he wants to talk to Dick McPherson. So with a timeout and 12:10 to play in the half, it's Boston College 7, Syracuse nothing on USA Sports. 7 and Syracuse nothing. This is Sullivan Stadium, and we have a jam-packed house here today in Foxborough, Massachusetts. This is the home of the Patriots. I'm sure they would love to see this kind of a crowd here on most Sundays. Boy, it's a lively one, too. 4th down and 14.
Mike Ciano with the reception has single coverage against him. It was Neil Eiton trying to provide the coverage. Eiton had his back turned to the pass. It was lofted in the air. Take a look as Kometz goes back. He'll softly loft the ball. Single coverage on the outside. Eiton has no idea where Ciano is turning to. Ciano turns to the outside, makes the reception. We've got a first down inside the 10 for the Orangemen.
That was a big, big play. They keep their drive going. They're down, knocking on the doors, they say. And Kometz diving down inside the 3-yard line. Tony Thurman, the free safety. Thurman, incidentally, last week was involved with 20 tackles, and he had 10 solos. And he just got his nose into the action here today.
2nd and goal at the 3-yard line.
2nd and goal at the 3. Perrell, another defensive lineman, will come in and join that front rush, and they'll bring Thurman out. 8 for 17 yards. Covington, Gayden, and Grimes, they go with a full house backfield. 2nd and 3 from the 3. Not quite.
Big John Boza getting the penetration in the backfield for Syracuse.
And Jamie Covington going down hard. This man has rushed for 2,100 plus yards during his career at Syracuse. He is from the Queens in New York. And now a change in the offensive line. Hans Biederker has come in replacing Tom Stevens.
Bicknell wants a timeout. I don't think anyone has seen it on the field. Now finally they call it just before Syracuse starts calling signals.
And so Boston College gets the timeout. They want to adjust their defense. BC has not been known to be one of your better defensive teams. They have
give up about 370 yards a game. That's
a lot. And 23.4 points a game. And they have been questioned. That's not just us talking. That's their own coach, who was very displeased in the loss to Army, or the win to Army last week. They beat Army 45-31, but they had a big lead and gave it up in the second half. Timeout. Boston College 7, Syracuse nothing. And he doesn't get it. Peter Holy, the linebacker, was there. Johnny Bosa was there. Kometz tried to run it in. Neil Eiton and Chuck Gorecki, all members of that BC defense. Yeah, they do give up a lot of yards, but it looks like they're coming together here at the right time, at least thus far. This defense has been very questioned, often questioned, and against the rush this year, giving up about 212 yards a game. 4th and 1 from the 1. Harold Gayden, and he's got 6 points for Syracuse. So Syracuse has come back. And the key on the drive was that big 4th and 14 call with a little over 12 minutes to play. And the big pass to Ciano that got him inside the 10-yard line.
Take a look at that full T backfield. Harold Gayden following those blocks up front. Roland Grimes, number 48, being a key one, playing fullback there. And another angle. This is what it looks like from that middle linebacker spot, as Boston College just unable to move with any penetration, despite the fact they brought a second nose guard in there.
And now in to kick. McCauley. And And that's another part of the Syracuse story. He is now 33 for 33 career. They have a streak of 123 consecutive PATs that goes all the way back to 1978. It's tied 7-7 in Foxborough. Here at the Sullivan Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. And some drive here by the Syracuse Orange men when it looked like they were stalled a big, and I mean big, 4th down and 14 situation, and a pass from Kometz to Ciano that kept it going, and eventually the score on that 1-yard Gaten dive, and a point after, and they've now tied it. Steve Williams and Ken Bell will be deep to receive now for Boston College. It'll be McCauley kicking up into the wind. The wind has shifted just a tad. And McCauley now will try and orchestrate a kick here away from the man he does not want to go to, and I would assume that would be Bell. Bell is a very fine kick returner. 24.6 yards per return. In fact, he's among the leaders, and now you get a look at the flag standing straight out. A little cross. The left-handed kicker or the left-footed kicker goes with the wind a little bit, and that is Bell. Over the 25-yard line. He is number 7 in the nation in kick returns. And Vic Bellamy finally pulls him down, but you could just tell by the way he was starting to get it going, Kyle, that he is a good one.
Here's the kickoff coming by McCauley, and the ball does go to Bell. BC kickoff return team, a little bit of an overload so they can get the ball to Bell. Pretty good moves to get up to just outside the 25-yard line.
Doug Flutie. 1st and 10. Stratford. Chip Green was there. And also we have one of the linebackers involved. Another score in that game. Florida 9, Kentucky 3. And Brown, Columbia 7-7. Ohio State, Michigan 7-0. Ohio State in the 2nd quarter. Obviously the kicker wasn't left-footed. I was looking out of the wrong eye. Phelan and Dombrowski on the far side, coming back in motion now is Phelan. 2nd and 9. Incomplete. And that is Sean Dombrowski, who is a sophomore, 185. And that is the 5th straight incompleted pass for Doug Flutie. So Syracuse in that great pass defense starting to tighten up.
Yeah, I think Flutie started off with 5 consecutive completions. And again, Syracuse being satisfied just rushing 4 people, letting their down linemen be double teamed by the offensive line of BC, but trying to double coverage the Eagle receivers.
Flutie out of the shotgun. He is 2 for 4 on 3rd down conversions. And that is complete as Gerard Phelan is up over the 40-yard line. Now Flutie wanting a little bit more time to get away from that rush, sets up in the shotgun, and it works.
Well, it's a shotgun, and it's a Flutie favorite as Phelan, who's Flutie's roommate, gets the 1st down. Number 3 in the nation with about 6 catches a name. Number 72, Green there, being picked off pretty well by Sean Regent. Number 54, left tackle.
1st and 10, live action. And on the attempt to skirt the outside, Stratford going up against Rudy Reed, a 216-pound linebacker of Dick McPherson's from Mansfield, Ohio. He gets maybe 3 on it. Ball is on the 45-yard line. 2nd and 7. 8:31 to play in the half. If you just joined in, it's a 7-7 tie. And so far, real good. Flutie had gone 0 for 5 there at one stretch. Now he's 6 for 11 for 90 yards. 1 interception. Yet to go for the touchdown pass. Phelan and Martin, his receivers on the far side. Solo running back. And a whistle and a flag, and as he tries to give it to the running back, Strachan, he gets nothing. Well, according to the numbers, you have to get Syracuse in the first half. They don't give up many in the second half. They've only given up 3 touchdowns total, passing and rushing all year in the second half. What was the last call?
Dead ball, away, offense, Repeat, second down.
Second delay of game penalty against Boston College. That has not been their trend this season. Always been able to avoid silly penalties like that.
Second down and 12 at the 40-yard line. Ken Bell from the slot left in motion. Flutie with Green chasing. And there's Kimmel. Strachan, the big fullback. You talk about a reaction on a busted play. Nowhere to go and under an immense rush by the two linchpins of that defense, and he still found an open man.
We got 7 people in the defensive backfield trying to cover only about 3 receivers, but Strachan had stayed in to block for a little bit. Strachan releases, as a good running back will do when he sees his quarterback under pressure, makes a nice over-the-shoulder catch, picks up some blocks from those receivers, and moves all the way down a busted play. Just no way to keep Flutie in the pocket.
First and 10, we've got Phelan and Darren Flutie on the far side. Try the middle. Ted Gregory, Rudy Reed, Jeff Knopf, they were all in there. That last pass play, incidentally, a 19-yarder for Doug Flutie. And now that Syracuse has escaped their fatal first quarters, 52-6, they're in the second here. Career against Syracuse. You see the 37% we talked about. And he's not had a lot of success against this team. That's made for a very interesting series indeed. Phelan near side. Martin far side. Flutie on a play action. Oh my! He was bent over. Kimmel was there. Number 83 and Tim Green again. Boy, those two fellas make a pretty nice sandwich when you consider the fact that they've got such a prize like Mr. Flutie between the bread.
Well, they finally keep Flutie in the pocket, and this is what they want to happen. Make sure the pocket is ever closing. It starts out large, closes, 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 and now all 3 people are there at one time, and they generally leave a 4th person, whoever's being double-teamed, back just a few yards to try to pick up Flutie when he begins to scramble. 3rd and 16, they go to the shotgun from the 47. Flutie wanted the time, he's going to get the time, and he's going to run. Inside the 35-yard line, Jim Gorzalski. They had the nickelback situation. He's the man in usually. Lee, Bellamy, Hobby, Gorzalski, and Roos. And Flutie sizing and Bicknell thinking, what now? Flutie on running attempts 4 for 24. They're down inside the 35-yard line to the 33. They've got a 4th down and 2. Bicknell had indicated perhaps kick. And now Boston College is going to take a timeout. So Boston College calls for time with 5:56 in the half. It's tied. Eagles 7, Syracuse 7. Eddie Doucette, Kyle Rote Jr. It's a 4th down and 2 with a 7-7 ball game. Ball on the 32. BC with the decision. Coach Kyle, what do you think? Well, I think you go on a rollout to give Mr. Flutie a chance to either run for it or to pass for it.
Phelan far side, Ken Bell near side, set up his pass receivers. Bell on the wing. Flutie on a roll. Oh my! Intended for Strachan, and a very active defense right there. The entire secondary involved with good defensive secondary rotation of the ball.
It is the rollout, and Flutie has the pass run option here, but it's David Lee, number 20, who tips the ball just before it goes into the waiting hands of Steve Strachan. And the turnover. There's David Lee. We'll hear from him during our halftime as we talk about defense today.
Ball on the 34. Turn it over to Syracuse now. The defense is held. 1st and 10 commits. And Harold Gaydon, the running back, runs right into the waiting arms of Mike Ruth. Norristown, Pennsylvania. He is a fellow that wanted to become a priest and may still. But he had a college career that he wanted to pursue also. And the man can bench press over 500 pounds. That's Gaydon and Covington together. Schwade's near side. Covington, Gaden, the running backs in the eye. Ciano in motion. Covington trying to stretch that far side of the defensive line. Scott Harrington, one of the tri-captains and the senior from Westwood, Massachusetts, the tackler.
Take a look inside at Mike Ruth trying to play off the block of Mr. Simcoe, the center. Jamie Covington, another in the long line of great backs out of Syracuse. People like Ernie Davis, Larry Zonka, Jim Brown. Jim Brown's record here at Syracuse just broken by Jamie Covington last week.
3rd and 2 on the 41. Ruth assisting Harrington on that last tackle. Commence on the keeper.
Doesn't get it this time.
Incidentally, we might add that Boston College with only 1 timeout remaining in the half, Syracuse with 2. We have 4:25 to play in the half, and it's tied at 7-all. You expected a big, wide-open offensive game out of Boston College? Well, Syracuse had something else in mind. They have a very fine defense. Kelvin Martin now will stand deep for BC. He'll be looking up into the sun. There he is, standing at the 24-yard line. So far, kicking, Jim Fox has 2. He's averaging 38 yards per kick. Martin. And he fields cleanly and then scampers OB at the 24-yard line. So Tim Green will come back with the defense of Syracuse. And right behind him, the nose guard, Ted Gregory. And they'll set it up with Green, Gregory, Knopf on the front rush. Pennsylvania 7 and Cornell nothing in the first quarter. College football 84 scores for you. Holy Cross, a good club, trailing Maine 7-0. Princeton, Dartmouth 7-zip. Ivy League play. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line now. Flutie. And the tailback cutting back. That's Stratford. Jerry Allen runs him out of bounds, but what a fine cutback by Troy Stratford.
You can't ask for any more. Not only does he get the first down, but with gliding moves a la O.J. Simpson, is able to get himself out of bounds to stop that clock. As we see him move up the field, well past the first down marker, and with Flutie having over 3 minutes to go, this is danger time for the Syracuse Orangemen and their defensive unit.
1st and 10. Flutie again. Tim Pigeon, a linebacker, was there defending against Phelan that time. And it'll go as an incomplete pass. Incidentally, Stratford has run for 51 yards today. Flutie so far passed for 109. Rhode Island and Connecticut 6-0 first quarter. UConn. Virginia trailing North Carolina 7-0. That's also in the first quarter. New Hampshire, UMass 7-7. Phelan far side. Martin near side. 2nd down 10 on the 36-yard line. Fumble. And Flutie quickly recovers. Well, he made a smart decision there, Kyle. Rather than try and pick it up and get back to the original idea, he just pounced in the ball and sacrificed the risk of taking another chance of maybe losing it again.
Right, it was a turnover on his earlier interception that set up the touchdown for Syracuse, as Mike Kometz trying to keep himself warm. Keep those legs particularly warm, as he's done a good job of running the ball.
What are you doing to keep warm? Phelan and Flutie near side. 3rd and 12 at the 34-yard line. On the roll, Phelan can't hang on. Nick Bellamy, the strong safety. And Flutie now is having a little bit of a problem here. He's completed 2 of his last 10 attempts.
Watch the secondary rotation. We've got 7 people coming back to help out. Got deep coverage behind both deep receivers. The ball thrown a little bit short in this swirling wind, and don't discount the fact that the wind chill factor. Eddie told you we've got a little over 30-degree weather, but with almost a 30-mile-an-hour wind, a bad punt.
Short kick, Schwades and Ewald. We're back to receive, and it takes a bounce for Syracuse. Strachan on the coverage, and they end up downing the ball on BC's side of the 50-yard line. So not a good kick at all. Only 14 yards net And that was not a good effort at all for BC, and they had a little wind behind them that time. Under pressure, Steve Peach could not deliver. Coming up at halftime, we'll have some interesting things for you, and we'll tell you about those in a moment. 1st and 10, ball at the 48-yard line. Kometz with Gaydon and Covington, the running backs, out of the split. Schwade's far side. Nice poise for the young quarterback. And he goes to the tight end, Jim Tate. Todd Russell, the cornerback. Tate did a nice job to hang on, but Kometz showing good poise under fire.
In the pros, many times they'd blow the whistle right there. Is he in the grasp? Well, not for very long. He sees that he's going to get hit. Despite that, keeps his eye on the receiver. And toss wasn't beautiful, but it was effective.
2:25 to play in the half. 1st and 10. 7-7 tie. That's Jamie Covington. John Bosa, one of the tacklers. Mike Ruth was also around the ball. Number 36, Peter Holy, the linebacker, coming up off the pile. And there he is, Jamie Covington, who's been a real good one. The leading rusher here the last 3 years. Our last telecast that we had against the Nebraska ball club, Covington was the man. And they don't really have a lot of depth at those running backs. One of these guys goes down, and they got some problems. 2nd down and 7, or 6. All on the 17. Holy, the linebacker, hanging on as Kometz.
Mike Marisi of Belmont.
Isn't it interesting how Kometz emerged actually from the scout team? This fellow was the scout team quarterback. Todd Norley went down on Dick McPherson with a shoulder separation after that great effort against Nebraska. Then the other youngster they used, the freshman,
Don McPherson. McPherson, yeah, separated his shoulder.
So they had 2 separated shoulders, lots of problems, and Kometz has stepped right into the breach, and they've won 3 in a row with him.
Well, this is a situation that perhaps we've mentioned that Doug Flutie came into, very similar, very early in his career.
There he is, 6'2", 196 pounds, right in the middle of the eye now. They've got another defensive lineman in. Gaydon, Grimes, and Covington. Full house backfield on a 3rd and 1. Ball on the 12. That's Harold Gaydon. He's got the 1st down and more. Bill Romanowski, freshman linebacker. Make sure that he doesn't go any further, but they get the 1st down, and it's 1st and goal with 1:05, and now Boston College up against a real big challenge.
Oh, when Gaydon scored the touchdown, it was the same play, kind of an off-tackle choice. He sees that he's got more space to the outside, though the blocking came inside. Either way, he knew he was going to get the 1st down, and he felt perhaps he had a chance to break it to the outside with a BC defense stacked so much on the inside.
Syracuse has been messengering the guards with some of the plays. Now Wiedeker has come in for Tom Stevens. Jack Bicknell checking to see who the injured player is. Some of his people coming off the field. Romanowski, the freshman linebacker, and as we'd mentioned before, Kyle, they can ill afford to lose one because they are already thin there. Well, Ted Gaffney is out. Van Essen is out. They've got Andy Hemmer they could bring in, or a John Galvin, but they really don't have many more than that. They're really thin at the linebacker position.
And with that kind of inexperience, this is Romanowski's 1st start, or last week was his 1st start, so this is only his 2nd game playing that position.
Andy Hemmer's come in, and now they go full house again with Grimes, Gaydon, and Covington. 1st and 7 at the 7-yard line. Harold Gaydon on the cutback. Inside the 5, not quite to the 4. Harold Gaydon running the ball. And now for Gaydon, 7 carries, 21 yards, 3 yards per. And I think that Syracuse doing a nice job of mixing their offense up. You know they're not going to pass a lot. Their real strength offensively, if they have one, is the rush. But they've mixed it pretty well so far here and have kept Boston College defense honest.
Well, they're not sure what the setup is here, as they're going to have to use one of their 2 timeouts. You had part of the backfield setting up in an I. You had another part of the backfield setting up in the T formation.
So the timeouts now are down to 1 each. And we have 18 seconds to play here in the 1st half. Hey, this is some football game. 7-7 tie. This is not the kind of a game you want to go away from.
No, and
if you're watching, you want to stay right where you are.
No one would be surprised if Syracuse is able to upset Boston College today. BC about an 8-point favorite in this game, but with those big emotional efforts that Syracuse has shown us this season, Boston College is certainly not at all invincible.
Well, last year, of course, Syracuse beat BC 21-10. That was the day that Stradford had the big rushing day, 147 yards, but Flutie could not do much. He only had 114 yards passing.
Yeah, and that really, BC come into that game last year 7-1. It really ruined their chances for a New Year's Day bowl. And Stratford had a good day that day, about 150 yards. What did you say, Flutie had 110, 114?
114. BC's defense played well that day also. Syracuse only had 118 yards on the ground. But now they need 4.5 to get in for their second touchdown. 2nd and 5. Can they do it? Covington and Gayden are the running backs. Big rush. He has to eat the football. Dave Pereira coming through on a safety blitz that time. And they chew up some time, and they're down to 11 seconds in a 4th down situation coming up. They held.
There's single coverage on the outside, and Komet's trying to find an open receiver. Doesn't even have time to set up as he's got to eat the ball because of that pressure by Pereira. Pereira, known as very, very hard tackler, has caused 4 or 5 fumbles already this year.
And now, Kyle, Syracuse has taken their only remaining time out of the half. They've used their timeouts very strategically, and it comes at a most opportune moment because there are only 11 seconds remaining in the half. And if they decide to kick, it would be Mr. McCauley coming in the ballgame to do so. He is 14 for 18 on kicking assignments this year if they decide to go that way, field goal kicking assignments.
Well, clearly they, with 3rd down, they've got 1 more down if they want to. They can't afford to complete a pass unless it's a touchdown. So the situation is, do you give this young, inexperienced quarterback, number 7, Mike Kometz, the freedom to do a little rollout pattern? If the man's not open, throw it away to stop the clock. And apparently that's what Coach McPherson is going to do. It's a lot of pressure on a young quarterback.
Boy, I'll tell you what, it'll bring on a 3rd and 14 situation on the 14-yard line. Well, the clock was wrong, so it's 3rd down and 14. Kometz. No flag. I don't see any. As Schwades was the intended receiver, and he was held up going in there in a pretty good bumping play by Neil Eiton as he tried to take it in, and now they'll bring on McCauley.
Well, you saw McPherson with his hands up in the air. It's almost the sucker play. It's a sucker-type pass. You want to see the penalty being thrown.
31-yard field goal attempt by Don McCauley. Slightly off at an angle, set to the left side. And it is good. And with 2 seconds remaining in the half, Syracuse, using their downs and their timeouts perfectly, has taken a 3-point lead. Boston College will have 2 seconds to do something with a kickoff. And right now, Syracuse looking to take a 10-7 lead to the halftime locker room session. So a most interesting first half, with Boston College scoring first on their first possession, and then Syracuse, when it looked like they were stalled on a potential drive, came up with a big 4th and 14 play on a pass from Kometz to Ciano, a 21-yard pass to keep it alive. They eventually scored, and now they come back with a 3-pointer and lead 10-7.
Well, what's helped them also has been the short punt that gave them the possession on BC's 48. Both times they've received the ball inside BC territory, they've gone down and scored. Got the touchdown the first time from Gayden, as you mentioned, and also this late field goal by McCauley with 2 seconds left.
It'll be Steve Williams, who averages 19 yards a kick on returns, and Ken Bell, who's good for 24.6 yards a return. You just see McCauley there, and ought to give him a little credit because he's part of a pretty good kicking tradition at Syracuse. We already mentioned the fact that they've not missed an extra point since 1978. And this year now, McCauley is 15 for 19 from field goal range. Here he is kicking. A sailor. And And Bell going down on one knee to make sure he caught the ball, touched, and that's exactly where it's going to be down. So there's 1 second remaining here in the half.
What he's saying is, I wish I were playing in the pros. In the pros, the clock would not be stopped. He would not be considered down. With that right knee on the ground, as Eddie told you, trying to keep the ball from going by him. And anytime anything other than a hand or foot touches the ground, they're going to blow that whistle.
So Boston College now getting set to take one last shot at it here in the first half. They've had 8 first downs in the first half. They need more than that right now.
Well, they're in the victory offense formation, which means a little quarterback sneak here.
Just hang on to the ball is all they're going to do, and that's what they're hoping, just to protect anything from happening before halftime. We still have an entire half of football left, and it's going to be good. We'll have a feature on defense, we'll have a Wall Street weekend memo, and we have a 10-7 Syracuse lead at halftime. So Syracuse averaging a little over 245 yards total offense a game. On the rush, about 126, and on the pass, 118. We'll set it up against that Boston defensive front. It's actually a 3-4, but they'll move the outside backers up. And Gaden carrying the linebacker Peter Holy with him.
Tackle was by Peter Holy.
And there he is from Philadelphia. Early in the season, Gaden had a lot of problems with fumbling, and that was one of the major concerns of Dick McPherson. In fact, he sat him down for a while. Gaden has seemingly hung on to the football pretty well since then. He had 94 yards against Navy and a couple of touchdowns. Evidently, he learned his lesson well. Mike Ciano to the far side. Scott Schwades, the son of Gerhard, to the near side. 1st and 10 at the 32-yard line. Right up the middle they go, trying to soften it up. They've got Covington trying his luck against big Mike Ruth, that nose guard. Dave Pereira, the strong safety, had to come up and fill in nicely and did the job. No word as to the availability of Bill Romanowski. He was hurt. He is in there right now, so evidently he came back, the freshman, who's done a nice job. Mike Kometz, the quarterback. 2nd down and 5. Schwades is out to the far side. Jim Tate, the tight end, flip-flops, and they send Ciano in motion. That's Jamie Covington. And on the bottom of the pile is Mike Ruth, that nose guard. There he is, 68, Holy coming in over the top. And the Conehead has even made an appearance. Kurt Gowdy for president. I think the guy's about 2 weeks late for the election, isn't he?
Well, there's a lot of color of college football here, and again, a beautiful setting for college football on a fall day, but as we said, also a beautiful setting for this historic event. Irrespective of who wins the ball game, it's been an incredible 4 years for a group of seniors for the Boston College Eagles that were not heavily recruited.
Now they march it off on this last flag that was dropped. We'll see a procedure call probably as the referee comes over here. Tom Thamert.
Illegal motion, offense, repeat 2nd down.
2nd down, 11. No, we had told you before that Syracuse had been outscored big in the first quarter all year. Well, their big quarter's the 4th. What will they do today? 2nd and 11 from the 31. Play action fake. Pretty good rush. Gaden avoids one tackle and fights over the 35-yard line. Todd Russell, a left corner, came up finally when it looked like they had a big loss way back inside the 25. They maybe get 4 or 5 yards on this one.
Actually, it's a pretty good fake here by Kometz as he does the fake screen to the far side. Here comes Dave Pereira, number 41 for Boston College. He's going to go to the sidelines and get some sticky on his hands because he lets Gaden go, and Gaden not only gets back to the line of scrimmage, gets up to where they've got about a 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4.
Actually, he gets about 6.5. They're going to call it 7. Ball is on the 38-yard line. Had it and lost it. Scott Schwades, sophomore from DeWitt, New York. His dad, Gerhard, played on the national champions at Syracuse in '59. And now for a 4th down situation, they're going to bring in the kicker, Jim Fox. And that wind is starting to pick up a little more. It'll be blowing kind of cross into his face. Kelvin Martin will be standing back at the 28-yard line for BC.
When you grade films, that's what's called a drop. Schwedes, the #1 receiver for Syracuse, has had very secure hands all season long. Very disappointing, I'm sure, for him.
12:48 in the third quarter. There's your left-footed kicker. Big kick into the wind. And Martin is thrown down by Jimmy Gorzalski. Well, they said that he's been a strong one all around, but you can't say enough about the job that those fellas have done. We have a timeout at Syracuse 10, Boston College 7. He had 3 for the year coming in. Incidentally, on that last kick, you saw #4, Jim Fox, coming off. That kick was 57 yards to put Boston College in this tough field position. And that kick is the longest of Peach's career. We're very, very short of a first down, just inches short. And here's the drive that we talked about before.
Look at the sequence, how easily BC earlier with 22 plays, their first 2 possessions, don't get close to that in their final 4. And in particular, you forget the last one, the halftime, but 3 downs, 4 downs, and 4 downs. When BC stops themselves, it's many times been on the turnover.
They have twins set up to the near side. I formation, 3rd and 1 on the 15-yard line.
Got the first.
That's a tough first down as the big man, Strachan, or was it Stratford? Let's see when they get off, and it's Stratford who comes up off the bottom. And he had to work for that one with Gregory, Green, Hill, Rudy Reed. They were all there. As he gets it out to the 16-yard line, he needed a yard, and he got his yard, and it's a first down and 10. Boston College with 10 first downs in the game. Martin and Phelan near side to receive. 1 running back. He gets it. Stratford. And very close to the 15-yard line. Rick Miller and David Lee coming up from the secondary to pull Stratford down. Stratford averaging 4.5 yards a carry and 60,890. That's actually a little over attendance, a standing room only of about, oh, I don't know, 70, 80 people. We'll let them in. The fire marshal will never know. 10-7 is our score. Syracuse with 10:37 to play in the third. Phelan and Flutie are the wideouts to the far side. They started a little early. And a flag finally thrown. Well, there was a miscount that time, Kyle, because I believe the 2 twins on the far side started a little early. Let's wait to see what the call is. That's Rudy Reed, the linebacker, number 35.
Yeah, when you're that wide, you're not going to be able to hear the quarterback, particularly with a crowd of over 60,000. So what you're watching is, you're trying to watch. That's not where the movement was. The movement was on the outside with the receivers. And Tim Green is finding a lot of green stuff on his helmet and on his back as he's seen a lot of that green turf. He is one of those 12 Lombardi candidates, as Eddie mentioned to you. And that's a pretty heavy honor for a team with the record that Syracuse has.
They called him on the motion that time with the penalty yardage now for Boston College, 35 yards. Here, they've got Phelan and Flutie on the far. Tight end again on a 2nd and 17. Rudy Reed, the linebacker, tackling. Peter Casparriello is the receiver, his 6th. BC fan, you're probably wondering where Scott Gieselman, their tight end All-American candidate, is. He is started and has done
7, 6 of them right there. You can tell they're in for Flutie. They got 3 people back deep, able to double up.
All right, 3rd and 1. Double pumps. And thrown behind Stratford that time. Stratford, a pretty good pass receiver. He has over 328 yards on pass receiving and 4 touchdowns in addition to everything else he's done on the ground. So he rarely drops him. That was not a well-thrown ball. So that brings into a 4th and 1 situation, and Scott Schwedes will go back to receive. And Steve Peach, our reserve quarterback, number 6 right there, will be in to kick. One kick, 13 yards, and it hurt. As Syracuse took advantage. Schwades had to give ground and finally dropped at the 30-yard line. A 45-yard kick. And Jack Bicknell, the snapper and center on the BC team, made the tackle. So Syracuse takes over, and they lead it 10-7 with 9:36 to play in the third quarter. If you're wondering what it's like here, it's warmed up a little. It's 40 degrees.
Yeah, but that's in the sun. We're in the shade, and my wind chill indicator says it's about 20. At least your nose says that, Eddie. You got
it's lit up, huh?
Yeah.
First and 10 from the 30. Harold Gage only there to receive him.
Little Eddie the red-nosed announcer routine.
Feel like it. It's the feet. It's the feet we worry about. The nose has been through a lot, but these feet. 10-7 here. Syracuse over BC. Purdue, Indiana in the Big Ten. 14-14 in the second quarter. A lot of interest there for the old Oaken Bucket. Gaden and Covington are the running backs in the eye. 2nd and 4 on the 36. And the 40-yard line is Harold Gaden. Tony Thurman, the free safety. That's an interesting story too. Thurman was an all-state quarterback as a senior in high school when Doug Flutie was a senior, and he's here now, and Flutie's the #1 quarterback, and Thurman is the big free safety. Harvard, Yale. Yale 20, Harvard 14, and it's being played not too far away. It's in the second quarter. Pereira out. Perrell is in. They go to an extra man up front with Covington, Gaden, and Grimes in a full house on a 3rd and 1. And Kometz will see if he can engineer that first down, and they're going to get it. That's the 7th first down for Syracuse.
Kometz 2 for 2. Watch Mike Ruth on the snap of the ball just try to get penetration. Thrust ahead. It's like someone going off the starting blocks on a swim meet.
Boy, that's a tough man to test. He's going against the hub of that defense. Time Kometz almost telegraphed the fact that he was going to carry. He kind of started up with his head a little bit before. We have a 1st and 10 on the 41. Jamie Covington. Scott Harrington was the tackler on the play. Dick McPherson about ready to pull a pass out of his hat, I think. He's been very coy the way he's mixed his offense. Nothing that Syracuse does really surprises me, Kyle. We saw what they did against Nebraska. You saw how they held Maryland in check. Maryland only scoring 7 points, Nebraska 9, and look what they're doing to BC today. They have them down 10-7 in the third. And Covington on a 2nd down and 6 is wrapped up by Roy Norden, a backup down lineman.
See a piece of material that has yellow on it.
Tablecloth?
No, I think it's a flag.
Number 84 coming away right there. Big strong guy, Roy Norden, fellow we talked about. BYU.
Huh.
And there's another one of those games that you can throw out the team's statistics coming in.
Yep.
That's for everything over there in the state of Utah. BYU against their cross-state rival, and while BYU is up there in the ratings, Utah, they have got themselves gnashing and gnawing today. It's 7-7 all. What's this about?
Holding, offense, repeat, 2nd down.
And 6 yards. Tate, the tight end, messengering in, and Kometz, the quarterback, receiving line. Remember now, Syracuse has outscored their opponents big in the 4th quarter, 47-25. And we have 7:12 left to play in the third. Syracuse 10, Boston College 7. He hasn't passed many times, will he now? He lays it out there, and it's complete.
Same situation before. A critical 4th down call in the first half. And Kometz gets The first time to Ciano, this time to Schwedes. And Neil Light is the man who pays the price the second time. Not a very pretty pass, but the ball is thrown up. The defensive back with his style of coverage, not even looking at the ball.
A rip into the wind, and the wind actually held the ball up. So a 1st and 10. And now Gaden will try and knife his way for a yard or two, and he gets nothing, and Mike Ruth again to tackle. Well, that is the second time, Kyle, as you mentioned, where they've come up with a big pass when they've had to have it. They've had to have it. And this time against one-on-one coverage. And if you're a receiver, that's something you love to see.
Well, that's when, as a coach, you get an ulcer. It's when you would want to use that NFL suggestion now, putting in helmets, where on the sideline you could say, look up, here comes the ball, you can intercept it. But you're not getting any verbal help out there today.
2nd and 7. Or 2nd and 10, I should say, and an incomplete pass. Mike Ciano, the intended receiver. Kometz coming up. Strategically placed passes in this game. As you see, 5 for 8. They don't go very often to the air, but when they have, the 2 biggest passes of the game have come at times when they needed them the most.
He's averaging over 20 yards of completion, so they're not just throwing the short ones either.
They are 3rd down situation bound. 3rd and 10. They are 3, 4, 10. 30% on 3rd down. Gaden, Covington are in there. Somebody jumped off, and now we'll have a whistle. Well, they had time left to get the play underway, but they thought better of it.
It's got to be a legal procedure against Syracuse because the ball was never snapped. Yeah.
So another penalty. This would be the 40th yard penalty of the day.
You got BC Stunning trying to show this young quarterback that they're going to be coming his way. The tackle moves a little bit.
Vince Munn comes in. Neil Eiton.
Hold start. Offense. Repeat 3rd down.
So they repeat the 3rd down on the dead ball, and Neil Eiton is in. Munn has also checked in. We have a 10-7 ball game with 5:59 to play here in the 3rd quarter. Covington and Gaden. Intercepted.
Bill Romanowski. Kometz goes back, and the linebackers drop back in coverage. Number 53, Romanowski, is there. Steps over after he bumped the tight end. And picks it up. So for Romanowski, the freshman, pretty big interception.
His first of his career. Syracuse 10, Boston College 7.
When night comes out to play.
Turn it loose with the silver bullet. Find it, catch it, grab it, pull it. It's the right light one when you hit the town. Coors Light will never, never, never slow you down. Light, turn it loose with the silver bullet tonight.
Coors Light beer.
Watch closely. You're about to learn how to prepare a very practical Ford Escort Turbo GT to accelerate like a very fast performance car. The new Ford Escort Turbo GT. Further modifications are not required. Have you driven the best-built American cars? Have you driven a Ford lately?
Sellout crowd at Sullivan Stadium watching as Syracuse leads 10-7. 5:53 to play in the 3rd. Flutie to pass. Big pressure by Kimmel. Incomplete. Strachan, the intended receiver. Incidentally, the turnover that gives the ball back to Boston College, the first in 4 games by Syracuse. We told you at the outset of our telecast, they don't make many mistakes. They don't score a lot of points, they don't give up many points, and they don't make a lot of mistakes. And for that reason, their coaching staff has to be commended. Martin near side, Phelan far side. Second down, Chandler line. Flutie and BC ready to fly. Let's see what happens. Stratford. And on the cutback, he does it as well as anyone you'll see in college football. Give you a leg and take it away, and he goes to the outside and gets the first down.
That's exactly it. It almost looks like a lame leg. He keeps his heels very close to the ground, able to move and break quickly as Green tries to catch on to him. There's the movement, and here's a good block by Gerard Phelan, number 20, the wide receiver for Boston College, to allow Stratford to get on down past the first down marker.
1st and 10, Stratford with 80 yards now today. Martin near. And Stratford again. And this time the pursuit is there. Kickoff is one of the people overlooking, as coming up off the bottom of the pile is Rudy Reed, the linebacker. There's Jeff Kickoff. I tell you what, you see a lot of good runners in college football, but I don't know, have 2 sets or a set of spaghetti legs like Troy Stratford. Boy, he can really move them and shake them.
Got that lateral movement.
Phelan near. Martin far side stretch. Second down 9 at the 47-yard line from the I formation. Flutie underthrowing. Is it complete? It's an incompleted pass that time for Kelvin Martin on the far side. Anything to keep warm here. Flutie now 9 for 20, 123 yards. Well, he was 5 for 5 at one point. At another point, he was 0 for 5. And this is his severest test this year.
He had to throw into double coverage that time to try to get the ball to Martin.
Sean Dombrowski is back in the game. Flutie rolling left. 3rd and 9.
What a catch by Steve Strachan.
I would say so. And again, he goes to the last option on the play. John Roos was there at the tackle, but they still complete the pass.
Here's the coverage. The wideouts trying to go deep. You got a tight end coming to the near side. 3 receivers on one side. There's the broken pattern. And now looking for number 33, Steve Strachan. He's there almost going down. Makes the catch. While he's parallel to the ground.
Darren Flutie and Sean Dombrowski are set near side. Stratford again. Oh, is he an exciting runner?
Not too many guys can start off on an off-tackle play. Break to the outside as quickly. Let's take a look. Here it comes. There's the block inside. Off-tackle. You got 2 people in the hole. You got both linebackers, Reed and Pigeon. They can't stay with him. Lateral movement back to the outside. He runs what looks almost like a question mark from the backfield. You don't diagram that as a coach.
1st down and 10. Ball on the 26-yard line. Under 4 to play in the 3rd quarter. And trailing at 10-7. Flutie ready to go. Good blocking out in front. Strachan carries the ball down to the 15-yard line. David Lee and Vic Bellamy, the left part of the secondary for Syracuse now. Syracuse is going to have to start thinking a little bit more run instead of pass. They've been keying on the pass. And now BC going more to the run as Jack Bicknell sends it in from the far side.
And almost got the Paul Revere type 1 if by land, 2 if by sea. They've gone an awful lot with signal number 1 on the land.
Tim Green, Rudy Reed trying to plug up the holes now as Troy Stratford a little slow coming up. They missed Stratford. He was injured in the Rutgers game, and we had that on USA. They missed him the following week. He came back and then re-injured his hamstring or pulled it in practice, but he's running well today. 98 yards for this man. A year ago against Syracuse, he had 147 yards. 2nd down and 8 on the 13-yard line. Dombrowski is to the near side. Darren Flutie to the far side. Ken Bell. As he changed up once he got inside, and he cracks down inside. Tackles him around the 5-yard line.
Well, BC has so few rushing touchdowns that once they get in about inside the 20, they know Flutie's going to try to run. So they put their linebackers way back. Excuse me, they know Flutie's going to try to pass. They put their linebackers back deep. They put their secondary back deep. And it's really forcing Boston College to keep running.
And they'll bring the sticks out here, Kyle, but how big that turnover now, the pass interception, the first turnover that Syracuse has made in 4 games has turned into something very big right now, as Boston College has just picked up the first down by inches. So they're down first and goal at the 5-yard line and trailing by 3 with 2:43 to play in the 3rd quarter. Number 24, Ken Bell, on his first rushing first down. He's done his work well. And now the Rhodes Scholar candidate, Doug Flutie, takes his team out with Jack Bicknell, the coach's son, over the ball. Pitch back. Touchdown! And Stradford has pulled up a little lame. I believe he has done the job to the hamstring again, but he gets the touchdown.
What a great blocking scheme for BC, because Stratford's hamstring was pulled on about the 4-yard line. You'll see him, he's almost going to have to jog in to the backfield. Right there, he starts to pull up. He's already limping at the 3-yard line. Unfortunately, the blocking of BC, they didn't need it. Let's watch how well BC seals from the inside. First, it's the tight end, number 85, Peter Casparriello. And then it's the guards pulling. That time, Steve Trapillo coming to the outside. So the interception in the first half by Flutie set up the touchdown for Syracuse. The interception this time sets up the touchdown for BC.
They always talk about the importance of trying to avoid turnovers. Well, the turnover has certainly come back to haunt here, as BC has gone ahead now 13-10, and who is 33 of 36 on PATs will try to add one more. With 2:25 to play in the 3rd quarter, Boston College has gone ahead. It's the BC Eagles 14, the Orangemen of Syracuse 10. To Foxborough in just a moment.
There's a new movement sweeping the country, the 1985 Toyota van. So innovative, it'll change the way you think about vans. It seats 7 or carries 1,500 pounds of sheet music and gives you the any van you can buy. You can even get an ice maker and 2 sunroofs. The Toyota van, it's a whole new movement.
Do you know which of these oils engine protection under the toughest driving conditions, sub-zero cold or blazing heat? This one, Mobil 1. Now, Mobil 1 and our other fine motor oils come in this easy pour, resealable plastic container. Mobil Motor Oil. Now it's easier to use than ever.
Yes. So for BC, the touchdown, we've got Stratford on the pitch from Flutie to give Boston College the 14-10 lead. And Stratford with the hamstring pull, we'll find out on the next piece. He's going to be back on the field.
There he is on the sideline, being tended to, walking around. Covington and Gaydon will be back to receive for Syracuse. And on the short kick, out to the 28-yard line. As Syracuse trying to get some movement, some running room there. Dave Kaminsky, a defensive back and a reserve who is in on the kick teams, pulled it in and got a couple of yards on the return. And now Syracuse will take over with 2:19 to play in the 3rd and trailing at 14-10. 3:28 on that time of possession, incidentally, 72 yards. 10 plays, and Stratford on the 5-yard run. Quarterback. And on the give to Harold Gaydon. David Thomas, who has injured himself with a bad hamstring, coming in here, still hanging on. Thomas is 6 feet, 225 pounds. Ohio State, Michigan in a good one. Florida, 19, Kentucky 10 in the fourth quarter. 14, Virginia 3 at halftime. Yale, Harvard in the game, 20-14 at halftime. Ciano far, Schwade's near. 2nd and 8 on the 31. Kometz. And that pass is complete. Todd Russell running Mike Ciano out of bounds. Now with up around 350 yards receiving for the season.
That was a very nice pass on the full run. Looks up, throws the ball just before the cut is made by Ciano and gets it right in his hands. Didn't even have to break stride. They've got a good young quarterback in Mike Kometz.
14-10 is our score. 10. Covington and Gate. Back to carry, and they give it to Gate. Smacked down pretty good by Mike Ruth and Dave Thomas. Man on the bottom is David Thomas. Behind some up front blocking that time. Is up there along with Stevens, Simcoe, Valenti, and Marone for Syracuse. Next we go Texas. Down there with some of that sagebrush, Kyle.
Got Texas a real big game today against TCU.
And they'll be going against Baylor next week on USA. A minute to play in the third I formation. And BC is fired and ready to go now. Mike Ruth, an All-American candidate. They're on the tackle.
I think you may have hit on something earlier, Eddie. You talked about what Bicknell had said about his defense. Really some pretty unkind things in line with their game last week. There's the Penn Cornell game. And he knew that he needed a max effort out of this Eagle defense because of what Syracuse defense was going to do against his offense. West Virginia, team that is really in the running.
Holy Cross and Maine tied after 3. Dartmouth trailing Princeton at halftime. Chuck Gorecki was the injured player for BC. Brown over Columbia, 21-7 at halftime. For those of you out across the nation that are interested in what's going on in the Ivy League, a pretty good idea right there. 14-10. Boston College has just taken the lead. And with less than a minute to play in the third, we have a 3rd down and 9. Syracuse is 3 for 11 on 3rd down conversions. Did he hang on? They say no.
McPherson very upset, but it was being juggled. It was a good catch by Ciano, and the ball was really rifled in there. But had he been able to catch the ball initially, it would have been complete. He juggled it and did not have complete control until he was past the sidelines.
So it'll be a 4th and 9. Fox is in to kick, and he will kick up into that wind. Over the year, under 42 yards a kick.
Boy, there's another good one. He had a 57-yarder first time.
Kelvin Martin.
Yeah.
And down at the 17 or 18-yard line. That's a 41-yard kick there, and he's done a good job with the foot here today. So now Boston College will take over again. Syracuse hanging right in there with that great defense of theirs. Remember, they're number 3 in passing defense. They give it up at just over 117 a game, 117 yards a game. Number 5 in total defense, 256.1 yards per. And their scoring defense is number 8, 12.7 points per game. From the 17-yard line. That is Ken Bell. Troy Stratford is not in there. Bell would be the likely replacement. Bruce comes over to make the tackle. Tim Green, number 72, coming up off the pile. Green has 14 sacks this year. He had 14 and a half last year. And so that's the end of the third quarter. We've played 3, and we have a doozy. It's Boston College 14 in Foxborough at Sullivan Stadium. With the help of a late fall sun, the shadows creep into Sullivan Stadium, where this crowd now watching a 14-10 Boston College lead. 14-10 as we start the fourth quarter. Dombrowski is in. Darren Flutie is far side. Darren, the brother, he's a freshman. There's the main man, and he is bumped out of bounds at the 26-yard line. What a resilient little guy. 9 inches tall, but my, is he resilient. You want to know about what happened? Well, after 3 yards rushing, BC has been on the ground. Yards passing, a little difference. And total yardage, BC controlling, and they have a 4-point lead. But you're used to seeing a lot more passing yards than that. BC unable to go against one of the toughest pass defenses in the country. Phelan and Martin are the wideouts. Martin in motion to the far side. Still going. And down, Rudy Reed and Ron Hobby. But he can take a lick, can he?
Everybody going left, Flutie going right on the bootleg. It is pass run, but he sees it early that he's got a lot of speed. And watch the block by 82 Kelvin Martin. Gets a man down, keeps Flutie from being hit full on. Flutie goes through, tucks the ball in, moves all the way down to midfield. And Flutie, despite the fact that he's had a few shoulder problems, has been asked by his coach not to run. It's what we said at halftime. They're going to have to get him to the outside to move the ball against this defense.
23 yards in that run for Flutie. Ken Bell inside the 50 and down to the 48-yard line. 14-18. It's ticking. We're in the fourth quarter. Ken Bell, Dombrowski, Strachan. You see them there in your picture. Yes, indeed. As long as that dog is, are also as long as the records that Doug Flutie has contributed to Boston College. Long on life and long on football. So far, rushing-wise, 53 yards. That's good. He is used to losing yards on the rush. He scrambles so often. Ken Bell. Still going. Vic Bellamy finally, but Ron Hobby had him and lost him.
I'll tell you, Eddie, I never would have imagined that BC's rushing game would have outgained their passing game, nor would I have thought BC could pick up over 200 yards rushing against this Syracuse defense that did such a job bottling up that very powerful Nebraska Cornhusker rushing game. But that's happened today.
1st and 10 at the 28-yard line. Again, they go to the ground. And it's Ken Bell to the 25. The two things we talked about coming out of the halftime intermission before the third quarter was, would they go more to the rushing game and would they go to the tight end? They've done both, and it's been successful for Jack Bicknell. And against Doug Flutie's wishes, I'm sure, because, Kyle, as you remember, last week in their game, they went to the rush to conserve time and hold the ball, and Flutie was not happy about it in the fourth quarter.
Well, that was because the BC defense was just unable to stop Army in the second half.
So they wanted to stall and have a ball control game. 2nd and 7, Bell in motion. Strachan.
I think we've got a penalty, though. Illegal use of the hands is going to be my guess against BC.
He got himself some running room. The officials talking about it with 12:38 to play here in the fourth quarter. BC by 4. That's a holding call coming up against BC. What is that, 45 yards against Boston College for the day, penalties? That's correct. Nick McPherson now on the discussion. And there really isn't much to discuss. They're going to take it back. BC starting to breathe heavily.
Holding. Offense. Repeat 2nd down.
Oh, they're going to try that 2nd down again. 2nd and 17 at the 35-yard line for the Eagles. Gerard Phelan to the near side. Sean Dombrowski and Darren Flutie are in twin sets on the far side. Lee and Bellamy over to guard the twin receivers. Roos and Hobby to the near side. And Bell no sooner got possession of the ball than Tim Green. Boy, if he's not an All-American, I don't know who is. He is as good a defensive player as I've seen all year, Kyle. And Remember that game against Nebraska? He was sensational.
When BC came to the line of scrimmage, Syracuse defensive line switched around and changed up the blocking call for the BC offensive line. Look at that rushing yards. We said BC over 200 yards.
3rd down and 21. They're 6 for 13 on 3rd down conversions. They have 5 backs in there now defensively. And the little man's done it again.
Tell you what, I absolutely love a guy. There's Tim Green, number 72. Let's see what happens to him. Well, they just rush inside. He puts a strong rush on the outside. I love a guy who wants the ball in pressure situations. He doesn't mind running with it against those big guys. What a block by number 20, Gerard Phelan, number 20. He held that defensive back all the way back in that defensive backfield to give Flutie some distance.
Regent and Bardwell with a couple of good contained blocks on Green to allow Flutie the big run. 1st and 10 from the 11. Ken Bell. He gets to the 10 and no further. Picks up 1. Ted Gregory, the nose guard. 11:22. Meanwhile, that clock continues to roll. And while Boston College is chewing up yards on the ground, the clock is moving along, and there's Doug Flutie on the ground. I don't know who's more popular in Boston these days, here at Larry Bird, but I tell you, it would be a standoff.
Well, after Larry Bird picked up on Dr. J last week, you got to give it to Flutie, and 60,000 people here would attest to that.
2nd down and 9. Ball on the 10-yard line. 10:50 and ticking to play. Strachan trying to go to the middle, and Gregory again. Now they're testing this outstanding Syracuse defense, and they're going right at the gut right now to try and pick up those big yards.
When they've done well, it's when they've set it up themselves in a passing down and they've run, or when they've let Flutie go outside on a pass run option. Let's see what they do here in 3rd and a long. My guess again is going to be a rollout option for Flutie.
Doug Flutie, who lost 14 yards rushing against Syracuse last year on a 3rd and 9. What will he do?
Uneven line, 5 players to the left side.
And they go to the strength, but it's not enough. Boy, I'm telling you, talk about inspiration on both sides of the football. Ken Bell trying. Stradford, of course, unable to come back because he pulled up on that last touchdown run. And now you've got a 4th and 9, and the clock's still moving. Kevin Snow will have to come in here to try and add 3 and make it a 7-point difference. But that's not what Jack Bicknell wanted. He missed from the 46-yard line. And that came earlier. But not this time. He's got himself a 25-yard field goal attempt. And so with 9:25 to play in the 4th quarter, this is some game. It's Boston College 17, Syracuse 10.
It was moving day. Things were going great. Till the moving truck died at the toll booth gate. The troopers were glaring. Tempers were flaring.
Do I hear swearing?
What's more, it started to pour. The tow truck came and we gave a cheer. Then the couch slid out the rear.
Oh.
Now I know rider trucks are newer. They're tougher, they're strong. And driving a bargain sure didn't pay. So next time I'll think this way. It's rider or it's wrong.
This Remington microscreen shaves as close as a blade or your money back. Look, no cord. It's rechargeable. It never needs a cord because this convenient charger stand keeps it continually charged. The Remington microscreen shaves as close as a blade or your money back. Here's why. The first screen shaves incredibly close. The second screen even closer. The Remington microscreen rechargeable shaver shaves as close as a blade or your money back. And the Lady Remington rechargeable, the perfect gift, shaves without a cord.
So Boston College has added 3 more points. And they have been successful the last few times they've had their hands on the football. This time 75 yards in 11 plays and a little over 550. And the 25-yard field goal with a man that is kicking off right now. This will be Snow kicking to Gaden and Covington. Into the wind, it's going to come up short. And out to the 25-yard line is Jamie Covington, the hard runner from the Queens.
I think, Eddie, the real telling statistic here when you come into this ball game is that Boston College has never this season scored under 20 points a ball game, and Syracuse has never allowed over 21 points a ball game.
And also factor in the fact that the fourth quarter offensively has been the quarter for Syracuse this year. They run a wing out of the I formation. Ciano and Schwades are the split receivers. That's Kometz. And at the 35-yard line, it's Todd Russell wrapping up Mike Ciano. A completed pass. We haven't seen him throw that much, but the youngster Ciano doing a good job. And here's a repeat of that scoring drive we told you about. Snow on the 25-yard field goal. And it's 17-10 Boston College. Last year it was 21-10 Syracuse. Traditionally, they've not been high-scoring games, at least over the last few years since McPherson, the man you're looking at right there, and Bicknell have become respective coaches of Syracuse and Boston College. Under 9 to play. Ciano in motion. Covington to the 43-yard line. David Thomas, outside linebacker, pulls him down. Romanowski was also there.
Well, BC satisfied with the field goal, but I'm sure very disappointed as we take a look at Jamie Covington, top tailback for Syracuse. But with another touchdown at that point would cause Syracuse to have to score at least twice to come back. But here Syracuse can score, get a 2-point conversion, and take the lead.
The Boston mascot trying to peck away in the helmets of Syracuse. As offensively, Kometz now on the option rollout. Kometz carrying. Downline pursuit by Peter Holy, the linebacker on that side. And Boston College now faced with a situation where Syracuse has just picked up another first down. 1st and 10, ball at the 43-yard line. The 11th first down for Syracuse and Kometz today.
That's a little bit deceptive because he's been caught for some losses on a few passing downs. But when he's running with the ball, he's pretty good.
Pitch back. And Covington going to the far side.
Well, he does not have the first down.
I must tell you that there have been some outstanding blocks thrown by the people up front. Offensive lines on both sides have done a good job here today. They've gotten out in front of the runs, done a good job as far as pass blocking is concerned. Well, that wind just took my breath away. Whoa. Just got hit with about a 50-mile-an-hour wind. 17-10, Ciano in motion.
He does not get it.
Whistle blows. Covington. Loose change, but it won't count. John Bosa, who started his career as an offensive guard. They have him on the defense now. He's number 97. And he was at the bottom of that one.
The penetration by Ruth, first 82, pushes aside the center, gets penetration in the backfield, forces a change of direction for Covington, and allows his partners to make the stop right at about the line of scrimmage.
Big one, 3rd down and 3. BC fans want the defense to hold. 7 minutes to play. It will be very close.
We got a yellow flag, though.
It will be very close. Romanowski there, Thomas is there, Harrington there for BC. Holding on the offense.
I think he was close enough for the first down. I think he would have had it, Eddie.
I think he was too, Kyle.
Boy, does that hurt.
Well, that's another one of the points that we want to make. This is a big penalty right here for Syracuse.
10 yards on the call.
Holding, offense, repeat, 3rd down.
Repeat the 3rd down. McPherson talking with his offensive specialist, his coordinator right there. 17-10. They had some snow flurries here in the Foxborough area this morning. I got a feeling we're going to see some more here this afternoon. It is really starting to get chilly again. 17-10, BC with the lead. Syracuse with the ball. 3rd down and 13 from the 45. Deep post. And a flag. It could be offensive pass interference.
Yeah, anytime the referee runs all the way back like that, it's going to be against the offense. Take a look. The ball, they picked on Neil Eiton all day long. Eiton's the one who's given up 2 long passes. He's number 43 for Boston College. There's the pass. This time the push in the small of the back. The ball will come right into Eiton's grasp, hits him in the hands. And the push. So we're going to have a punting down for Syracuse. That'll bring on Jim Fox.
My, you talk about 2 big penalties. The holding penalty that prevented them from getting the 1st down, which would have enabled them to stay in possession of the ball. And now this penalty here, the offensive pass interference. Let's get it officially from the referee.
Offensive pass interference, loss of down. It is now 4th down against the offense.
Wasn't only loss of down, they lost distance, and that is good field position information for Boston College, because Phelan's only back on his own 30-yard line.
Jim Fox to kick. He'll have a little bit of a tailing wind now. It's actually blowing more cross. The shadows starting to crowd in on that playing surface, and half the field now is covered with shadows. And it's getting cooler all the time. Players trying to keep their hands warm. 17-10, BC with the lead and about to get possession of the ball again. The 22. Martin. Here he goes. On this touchdown return this week. You couldn't ask for more excitement than this.
Kelvin Martin, it's been a long time since 1972 that Boston College had run back a punt for a touchdown. Last week, he broke that record. And here the double threat, Kelvin Martin, the man who's number 1 for Boston College in touchdowns for receiving, obviously number 1 in touchdowns from punt returns, as he has his 2nd on the year, 79 yards. On that for Kelvin Martin, only a sophomore, and he has put Boston College within reach of a major bowl game.
It's 23-10. Waiting for the official call. I believe it was 78 yards on that return, although it could be 79. And into kick now, Kevin Snow. And well, he should receive. Congratulations. There he is, Kelvin Martin, the sophomore. He's from Jacksonville, Florida, and he is starting to get used to this cold weather. In fact, he might even be liking it. Big rush by Syracuse, not enough. Last year, the final was Syracuse 21, Boston College 10. This year, with 6:04 to play, it's BC 24, Syracuse 10 from Foxborough.
Hi, I'm Jim Fitterty, and I hope you'll join us on the next edition of Seeing Stars. Director Brian De Palma has been called the Alfred Hitchcock of the 80s. See why when we take a close-up look at his latest thriller, Body Double. You've seen her in Poltergeist, The Big Chill, Teachers, and now American Dreamer. Meet JoBeth Williams, Hollywood's hot new leading lady, and preview the sci-fi spoof, The Night of the Comet, on the next Seeing Stars at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on USA. today.
Back were the keys to getting. We're back in Foxborough at Sullivan Stadium. And yes, this is a sellout crowd. It's been sold out all year long. And this is what brought the sellout crowd to their feet. This touchdown run by Kelvin Martin.
Well, it was some great blocks there by Jarek McPherson, number 1, and then Carl Creshpay, number 35, that really set him free for this long punt return. And there are a lot of images, a lot of things that will be remembered by this capacity crowd. They'll remember the weather for sure. They'll remember the wind. They'll remember it's Doug Flutie's last day. But no doubt that will play a very prominent role in the memory banks of all of these fans. That long 78 or 79-yard punt return for Boston College by Kelvin Martin.
They'll also remember on the Syracuse side the 2 penalties that delayed an opportunity to come back and tie the game. The holding call and the offensive pass interference that gave the ball back to Martin in the 78-yard touchdown run. Kicking off, BC. Comes up short. Gayden's got to go back and get it. No one there to help him out. He gets a wall. And out to the 28-yard line.
Oh, boy. Just when you think you got him.
It could have been disastrous for Syracuse. And Gayden will look like he was ready to settle for the ball being down right back there where he got his hands on it until he saw the blocking develop. And now Syracuse with 5:51 and trailing at 24-10. Schwades, Brodsky, Stevens, Simcoe, Valenti, and Marone across their front line. Tate is the tight end. They've got Kmetz, the quarterback, Jamie Covington and Harold Gayden are the running backs. Andy Hemmer and Peter Holy are the linebackers for BC. That's Kmetz, and that's complete to Big Jim Tate at the 50-yard line. Tony Thurman, the free safety, who is number 1 in the country and number 1 career in BC history as far as pass interceptions. Florida 25, Kentucky 17, and they're in the 4th quarter in that one. Penn State trailing Notre Dame large in the 4th, 34-7. Jerry Faust feeling good about that one, I'm sure. 24-10 here. Oh, what a dandy this has been. That's Kmetz. Almost intercepted by Romanowski. Intended for Schwades, and the freshman linebacker was the young man that actually turned this game around in favor of BC with the pass interception that got them their big touchdown, their go-ahead touchdown. How about this one?
Goodness, Temple over West Virginia, and that does a big deal here in the for Boston College as we look at the Yale-Harvard score in the Lambert Trophy balloting this week. Penn State, that is now way behind the Notre Dame, was number 1. BC was number 2. West Virginia was number 3. So not only on the line is a January 1st bowl for BC today, but it's also the Lambert Trophy.
Clemson over Maryland, 23-17, in case you didn't see it. Kmetz going deep. Schwades is there! And here we go. Todd Russell got beat deep by Scott Schwades, the sophomore flyer.
Schwades not really known as the deep threat. It's more Ciano, the deep threat. But what a pass by Mike Kmetz. He lofts the ball, gets a real good arc on it, so that it does fall over the shoulder of Todd Russell, number 45, trying to defend. And we're back in here, 5:15 left in the 4th quarter. And Syracuse, not a team known at least until 3 games ago as a team with a great offensive unit.
That is the longest touchdown pass of the year for Syracuse, 49 yards.
Got to call a timeout because there were 12 people on the field for Syracuse.
And they'll take one of their 3 timeouts. Syracuse now with 2 left, and Boston College with 3, and we have 5:15 to play in this one. Oh, yes. Is this fun? I'm telling you. BC 24 and Syracuse 16.
Have you driven a Ford? When was the last time you had the kind of car that brings the road alive? Have you driven a Ford? Then you don't know what you're missing. Have you
Bears, they went up another 4 points. I guess it looks like you're buying lunch, huh? Call me.
Hey, Hotshot, we got a court at 7. Get plenty of sleep tonight. You're gonna need it.
Richard, it's Lisa. Where are you?
For those who appreciate the modern art of living, there's Sanyo. The modern art of electronics.
I believe Syracuse is going to go for 2, Kyle. If they get 2, then they stand in a position to win the game with another touchdown and an extra point. If they go for the extra point here, they'd have to score 8 if they were to take it in again. This is Kometz. On a keeper, he can't get there. He tried to cut back and he couldn't do it. And it's Peter Holy, the linebacker. Scott Harrington, one of the down people. And Doug Flutie cheering his defense on the sideline as Kometz and this game group from Syracuse coming back now as they try and plot strategy for the final 5:15.
Dick McPherson with a few words to his young quarterback, trying to build into him a little bit more experience on that option for 2 points. And clearly, obviously, that was the right call, as we got some more scores for you. Brown and Columbia. And continue that Penn-Cornell game. Lots of Northeast action. Of course, the game starting here very early on the East Coast. Harvard and Yale. Big question there is, what are the MIT students going to be doing? Remember a couple of years ago, they had that balloon blow up on the field. BYU and Utah. BYU watching the strange happenings of last weekend with Washington losing, Texas losing.
Indiana every year, as bad as they are, they'll give Purdue a battle, won't they, for that old Oaken bucket? Well, we have 5:15 to play here. And as it sits up on the tee on the 40-yard line, you've got Steve Williams and Ken Bell. Bell on the far side, Williams near. Don McCauley will kick it up. And again, we harken back to those 2 big penalties against Syracuse. How much different might it have been had they been able to hang on? Ken Bell. Ken Bell to the 42-yard line. Explosive Ken Bell. Tim Pigeon, a linebacker, tackled and pulled him down. But Bell, with that great speed and his ability to run back kicks at almost 25 yards per try, that time to the 41-yard line.
I'll tell you, that run back was diagrammed the way the coaches wanted. First line of people kick the wide folks out, then they got a wall of 4 blockers right in front of Ken Bell, and he followed it precisely.
Phelan far, Martin near side receiver set up. Bell. And the deep secondary spotted run and came up, and Vic Bellamy had to come from way back. Well, Bellamy was laying way back off the line, and he had to come a long way to make that tackle. Rudy Reed also dropping back. No, Kyle, this Syracuse defense yields more than 200 yards less than Boston College averages each game. They give up. Well, they give up about 256 yards a game. BC is averaging about 475 yards.
That 256 is 5th in the nation, so they've gone against some very good offensive units this year. One thing that BC is doing, though, to keep the Syracuse defense off balance, which, again, a team like Nebraska was unable to do, is many times running a misdirect, meaning that you got flow going one way, the ball carrier going another. And with Syracuse having good pursuit, means they don't have quite as many people around the ball when it crosses the line of scrimmage.
4:08 to play in the ball game. 24-16 BC with possession of the ball. They stay on the ground. 3rd and 3. Ken Bell. Over the 50 to the 49-yard line. David Lee, number 20, comes away.
Syracuse did a good job. They and that team tackling were able to knock him sideways. I don't think he got the first down because of that. Had he fallen forward, it would be a first down. It's going to set up a 4th down situation.
This is a big one here. Do they give up possession of the ball? They lead by 8. South Carolina and Navy.
Incredible.
Can you believe that?
No.
Navy was beaten 29-0 last week. We're going to double check on that score just to make sure. Navy defeated 29-0 last week by Syracuse. A big shutout for the Orange defense. But here today, they can't hold as BC has it 24-16 with 3:36 to play.
The new American Business Morning. faster, more fleeting, with time more precious. And UPS is there, meeting the challenge every business day. It's UPS Next Day Air, and that means getting it there. Keeping pace with morning deliveries to more people and more places than ever before.
UPS Next Day Air. Morning, morning, morning.
UPS Next Day Air, getting it there every business morning.
Getting it there.
Venture into the exotic world of leather and lace and hail the legacy of John Lennon with the music of his son Julian on Night Flight in stereo at 11 Eastern on USA tonight.
Bunch of sweet, boy. Action speaks louder than words. USA's College Football 84.
We can only hope that we have this kind of a game next week when USA Sports travels to Waco, Texas. College Football 84 will bring you the Longhorns of Texas against the Baylor Bears. Game time at 12:30 Eastern. College Football 84 on USA. 3:36 to play. BC 24, Syracuse 16 to kick. BC on the 4th and 1, a bad kick. And Syracuse elects to let it roll rather than risk a chance of losing the ball. So they'll put it in play at the 19-yard line. It's a long way to pay dirt for Syracuse. But if they come up with another big play like that last touchdown on the pass to Scott Schweides, they'd be right back in the game. Had some interesting games around the country today. 24-16 here. Temple in West Virginia in a good game. We'll try and get that score to you. Covington, Gaden, the running backs. Schweides split par. Ciano to the near side. They've stayed with that combination all day. Mike Kometz under to the 29-yard line. Or make it the 24-yard line. Jamie Covington. Covington is a pass receiver coming in, had received the ball 24 times for 141 yards this season. No touchdowns. What about that West Virginia game? There it is. That is a final. Oh, you know, BC might be in line for their second Lambert Trophy in a row. They've got a win here. They've got Miami ahead also, and that'll be a biggie. Mike Ruth, look at him, number 68. He is incredibly strong.
Well, he took two people down. Watch Simcoe, 67, the center, right on him. He's got Simcoe in his arms. He's so strong, he keeps Simcoe right there and tackles Harold Gaden before he gets to the line of scrimmage. One way you're not going to beat Mike Ruth is upstairs. You got to get to his legs.
2:20 to play in the ball game. 24-16, Boston College leading, and Syracuse needs a score badly. That's Mike Kometz. He needed 5. Did he get it?
Yep.
He sure did.
Kometz on the keeper. Romanowski.
So Kometz now is good for 33 yards rushing. He has had 16 carries. That's his rushing total for the day. Well, he's a double or two-prong quarterback. He can pass. He's got a strong arm, and he's run well. As you see, we have less than 2 minutes. Time not an ally now for Syracuse. This is their last game of the year. BC has 2 to play. Intercepted by Thurman. And that is the 10th of the year for Tony Thurman.
Well, I really feel badly for this young man. He's going to be a superb quarterback before his career is over. Has a great arm, as Eddie told you. As soon as he learns how to read coverages a little bit better, he'll be all right. Here's Mike Ciano, number 14, going deep. Got zone coverage, and here comes Tony Thurman across. He's the active all-time career NCAA leader in interceptions. As Eddie told you, that's his 10th on the season, is already averaging more than 1 interception per game. That's his for the day. Looks like he's even lost a little bit of hair worrying about keeping that streak going.
24-16 with 1 minute and 43. And Flutie and the Eagles are looking to take another one.
Getting fouled in ball carrier.
Ken Bell, tackled by Tim Pigeon and Tim Green. And how you have to feel for a fellow like Tim Green, who has been sensational. He's only a junior, however, so he's got another shot at it next year. Last week, as we had mentioned, this club beat Army, and they did not do it decisively at all. They yielded a lot of yards defensively, but they've clamped down when they've had to today. On the other side, Syracuse shut out their first shutout of the year. They shut out the Navy 29-0. A whistle as they pitch it back. Incidentally, we see what BC has done on the ground today. Last week, Navy only had 3 yards rushing against Syracuse. So I think that Boston College, by going more to the run, has caught them off guard. And we got a procedure call coming up against Boston College. Boston College today going completely opposite of what you would think. 262 yards rushing, only 136 passing. The call?
Dead ball. Alt start. Offense. The clock should read 1:06.
1:06. The scoreboard clock is at 1:02.
Well, they'll have to take it back. Remember, Syracuse, you see only 1 timeout left, 1 minute and 6 seconds left, so 66 seconds and 1 timeout. If Boston College can just keep the clock from stopping, they're going to be in a great situation, despite the fact that Flutie is going to lose his record of consecutive games of over 250 yards passing. As Eddie told you, well under even the 200-yard mark, as the Syracuse secondary has done a good job, but more importantly, the Boston College running game has really done a job today. And you got to give a lot of credit to that front line for Boston College, a line that they have called the Secret Service. There are the timeouts, as we told you. Secret Service because they've given Doug Flutie presidential type coverage. Well, today they've known how to penetrate that Syracuse defensive line, as they've given Stradford and Strachan lots of running room too.
Ken Bell. Ken Bell to the 47-yard line. The clock continues to roll. It's down to 55, 54, 53, and ticking down to what could be a very big win for Boston College in front of every major bowl recruiter here in the nation. Dick McPherson knows it. Syracuse with only 1 timeout remaining. BC has averaged over 475 yards a game, as we've told you. Today now, just a little over 300 total yards. And most of it has come on the ground. A different departure. And Doug Flutie certainly will not question Coach Jack Bicknell's strategy today, even though last week he was not in agreement with the fact that they ran the ball predominantly in the 4th quarter against the Army.
Well, this shows just one more time what all these coaches all over America have been saying about Doug Flutie. You can stop him from passing, perhaps. You can stop him from running, perhaps. And even today, you can stop him statistically. But whether you stop him running, you stop him passing, or you stop him statistically, he's still going to get Boston College into the end zone, and he's going to lead this team into victory.
24-16. The first turnover by Syracuse in the last 4 games started it, and then the 2 penalties in succession. The holding call, which prevented them from getting a first down, and then the offensive pass interference, which forced them to kick it, and then, of course, the ensuing 78-yard touchdown run by Kelvin Martin, which opened it up. And, of course, the interception leading to the go-ahead touchdown for Boston College. And now Syracuse is in control. Elsewhere, Florida over Kentucky. Florida up there battling around in the ratings also. But Syracuse came in at 13. They have a chance now to become a 7-2 ball club. And ironically, after last year's loss to Syracuse, Boston College was 7-2. They'll end up that way here today also. That's Doug Flutie. And all he's doing is running out that clock.
He gets the first down, too. And that means they can't really stop it. They'll stop, the clock will stop to move the sticks, but it'll start again. And it's a first down. The game is basically over.
Flutie with 83 yards rushing. So when he's had to go to the rush, he has shown he can do that also. 10 carries, 83 yards. It hasn't been his usual passing day, but hey, what the heck? He's shown another reason why he probably deserves the Heisman Trophy. He not only passes and engineers a high-flying offense through the air, but he's done a good job on the ground. And today their rushing totals have been close to 300 yards. 15 seconds, no timeouts remaining for Syracuse. What a battle by Syracuse, though. They led it at halftime, 13-10. The mistakes, a couple turnovers, and a break here or there, and 60,000 plus are heading home happy here at Foxborough. Flutie with a game ball, and a very, very fine ball game indeed. We certainly want to thank all the people who have assisted us today. Boston College SID Reed Oslin, Syracuse SID Larry Kimball, my statistician Dick Lipe, our spotters John Kane and Jim Foley. They've been sensational. And the final score before we return to a wrap-up, the BC Eagles 24, Syracuse 16.
Well, with the final score here, Boston College 24, Syracuse 16. We're still here at Sullivan Stadium. A little post-game wrap-up, and I want to alert you to the fact that I think, Eddie, we've got a bowl game situation for these Boston College Eagles, and it's about $1.5 million win for Boston College, and Bill Flynn, the athletic director for this university, will have to make a very difficult decision. Does he go and listen to country and western music at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, Texas, or does he head for the jazz of New Orleans and a little bit of French cuisine in the French Quarter?
Well, it sure looks that way, Kyle, because right now, the way things stack up, this team is bowl-bound for sure, and an opportunity for them to go, I say, any one of a number of places to take their pick. I was certainly interested today in the way this game developed as far as Boston College was concerned. They took advantage of mistakes, which is something that Syracuse has not done a lot of in the past. And those mistakes in the second half cost Syracuse possibility of winning this ball game.
I think you're right. It was the short punt early that set up one scoring situation. It was the interception that set up another one. And we want to remind you to join us again next week here on USA for our continued coverage of college football 84 as we go to Waco, Texas, where the Longhorns of Texas meet the Bears of Baylor in a match that could very well decide the Southwest Conference Championship.
College Football 84 was brought to you by Coors, the clean, refreshing taste that says the best of the Rockies is yours. Coors to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Mobil 1 Synthetic Motor Oil. You can't get better engine protection. And by Levi's Action Slacks and Action Jeans. Once again, the final score, Boston College 24, Syracuse 16. For Kyle Rote Jr., this is Eddie Doucette. We certainly hope you enjoyed, and so long from Foxborough, Massachusetts. The executive producer of USA Sports is Jim Zrake. Our producer, Gary Dubin. Our director, Billy McCoy. The associate producers, Stephen Feder, Kevin Landy, and Tim Rapley. Our assistant director, Grace Palmer. Our director of sports programming, Marty Brooks. Our production coordinator, Barbara Travers. And our executive in charge of production, Dick Ross. We've had a good one in Foxborough. College Football 84 has been a presentation of USA Sports.